Okay, I think I'm live. Hopefully I'm live. So I've got to do a couple. I'm running like a little bit behind on my morning routine, but I got to clean my one hitter real quick. But I didn't want to be super late to the stream. So I got this clip. It's only 12 seconds, but I talked about it yesterday. So I went ahead and looked it up. Here's the clip of Tony Schiavone talking about me. Oh no, what's happening? Why is the volume so low? What's going on? Ugh.
And pro
Oh, there we
Gran
go.
Torino style promos.
Okay, hang on. Here we go.
And promos, Gran Torino style promos.
Absolutely. By the way, for Mark Fusion, who wants to know, is this pre-recorded? Mark, it's not.
No, we're super live. We're so live.
Look at the disgust. Look at the disgust.
For Mark Fusion, who wants to know, is it absolutely? By the way, for Mark Fusion, who wants to know, is this pre-recorded? Mark, it's not.
No, we're super live.
I'm sorry, I didn't even clean my one hitter. I was laughing at myself. But yeah, that's my big moment of fame with Tony Schiavone. You got a half a 2 liter of orange Fago. How's it going, King TL? I got some great fucking videos for you guys later on in the Boyd Watch. Holy shit. I watch so much stuff that's just not any good. But man, when you find something like that's just perfect, it's all worth it. Let me show you another funny Tony Schiavone clip. Unfortunately, my clip archive is very compromised because of Grace. Like a lot of my stuff is gone. But here's a clip of him talking about that guy with the big dick at the Olympics. What's going on with my internet this slow today? That's not a good sign. Oh, here's a great vegan patriot clip about me. If we're going to be allowed to watch anything today, apparently. Man, my internet is slow. I'm sorry, guys. Well, apparently we're not going to watch that clip. All right, well, let's just go over to wrestling then. We are at August 30th, 1986. I can't believe we're all the way to almost to September. It's crazy. I feel like we just started watching this not too long ago. This picks up exactly where we left off at the end of the last stream. If you're new or you didn't know, there's a playlist on my page that goes all the way back to the first show of 1986, and we watch them all up to this point. I don't know what's going on with my internet. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up the wrestling stream. All right, let's get going. Let's figure it out. Oh, by the way, this is for Ruby. Speaking of 2 liters. I'm going to join the drinking from a 2-liter club inspired by Ruby Spacek. Which I think is always badass when she's on a panel and she just pulls out a fucking 2-liter and starts chugging it. They were like, vegan patriot, no. CWA, yes. Also, I started reading Randy Hales' book. If you've got YouTube, not YouTube, but if you've got Kindle Unlimited, you can read Randy Hales' book for free. I don't know if it's accurate. I feel like it would be. He was kind of an expert on Memphis, but he says Dave Brown and Lance Russell had been commentating together since 1966, not on CWA, but like on a previous incarnation of Memphis wrestling. That's 1966. 20-year veterans by this point. That's wild. I do drink 0 calorie a lot of the time, but I can't do it with Pepsi. I think Pepsi tastes fucked up.
Hello again, everybody. Lance Russell and Dave.
I'm not on. The only arc I'm on is a find great Boyd content arc and smoke weed, and that's it.
Brown, we're right along ringside, and son of a gun, we're just excited as we can be about the action we've got lined up for today.
Listen to the opening match. We've got Ron Sexton and the Memphis Vice teamed up to go against a team of Tracy Smothers, Paul.
Also, I did a review. I did a movie review. I'm gonna post today of The Land Before Time, which I thought was kind of a funny video for me to post.
Paul Diamond and J.T. Southern. That's just the opening match of the day. Coming up a little bit later on, Southern Tag Team title match today.
J.T. Southern?
Fire and Flame will be here defending their belts against a mystery team. So they...
Did Bill Watts own Memphis? No, I don't think so. I think it was run... Again, it was in that Randy Hales book. Give me just a second. Yeah, Jerry Jarrett... Okay, Jerry Jarrett broke off from the people who originally ran the territory, I think. And when he took over, then it became like Memphis, like what we consider Memphis, or what I consider Memphis wrestling, if that makes sense. But there was like a whole like years and years and years and years of wrestling before that transition. How's it going? It's me.
We will find out, and we will find out who that team is just as the match is about to take place. A little bit later on, Jeff Jarrett, Pat Tanaka will be here. Also, the Japanese team of Sato and Goto, and Bam Bam Bigelow in a handicap match. The King will be teaming with the Giant Hillbilly a little bit later today, too.
Is that a lot of talent? Boy, I'm on a...
Lawler and the Giant Hillbilly? Hell yeah.
We got it all, and if we're going to have any chance of getting most of it in, we better get started right now. We'll take time out and be back in the ring with an excellent six-man tag match in just a moment.
Okay, this is from the Nick I'm sorry if this is boring to anybody. I'll try to be quick about it. It says that Bill Dundee came into the territory in 1975. That's interesting. The Memphis wrestling landscape would soon be changed forever. Nick Goulas and Roy Welch were the original promoters, right? But Jerry Jarrett was booking, and the booking was what was driving the success of the territory. From what I understand, there was like the parts of the territory that Jarrett handled were doing really well, and the parts that Goulas and Welch were handling were not doing well. So he was carrying the promotion, and it came to a point to where, like, you know, he had enough of doing it. So while Nick and Roy concentrated on Chattanooga, Birmingham, and Nashville, Jarrett concentrated on Memphis and the smaller cities around Memphis, plus Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky, and Evansville, Indiana. Thank God, Evansville, Indiana. That's why we can watch these. The Jarrett end was the money-making end of the territory. In 1977, Jarrett and Nick had a major falling out, and Jarrett resigned from the Goulas Welch Wrestling Company and started his own promotion. In 1977, WHBQ did not want to get involved in the wrestling war, so they canceled wrestling altogether. So they were like, we're not going to get involved in this promoter feud. Wrestling's just done. Jarrett and Lawler were able to go to WMC TV5, a station with larger coverage, and take most of the stars with them. Eventually, Lance and even Dave came along too. Thus begins the legend of the Memphis territory. The history of Memphis wrestling must be credited to many, many people, but I will state time after time the credit for the legacy of Memphis wrestling has to go mainly to the founder and genius of Jerry Jarrett. So that's what Randy Hales said.
Spies and sexy Ron Sexton coming to the ring, boy.
Oh shit, sorry. How's it going, Backwoods Squatch? He-Man. Rich.
Our opening bout.
Sorry, we haven't. It's nice to have somebody ask a question. I actually have like something to say on Memphis wrestling other than rambling.
Boy, they got on some new wrestling site there. I was looking at Big Lou there, tough enough, and on the back of Jerry Bryant, too cocky. Pretty well sums up all three of those guys. Coming in right now, J.T. Southern, Paul, and the Mid-America champ, Tracy Smothers. Boy, what a whale of an opener this son of a gun.
This should be terrific here today, I tell you. With Big Lou win.
All right, Tracy Smothers, JT Southern, and former drug addict Paul Diamond against the incredibly sleazy team of Memphis Vice and Ron, I'll pretend you said 18 Sexton.
And Jerry Bryant, the Memphis Vice on one side of the ring, along with their partner Ron Sexton. They weigh in at a total of 7.
I agree with you on Goulas for sure, but I think I saw a video not too long ago on YouTube that was like, it was like a breakdown of Ric Flair and Goulas about something. I don't know. Oh, but I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about watching sometime an old NWA house show that's got Harley Race against Andre the Giant? I don't know what else is on it, but it advertised that as the main event. I thought that could be fun sometime.
704 pounds and across the way at a total of 690 pounds, as you mentioned. He holds the Mid-America Championship belt. Tracy Smothers. His partners out of Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada, Paul Diamond. Out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, J.T. Southern. One fall, 10-minute time limit. Referee says ring the bell, and here we go. Did he? Yeah. Now he says ring the.
Just looking at the picture quality of it, I don't think it's something WWE would come after me about, but if they do, I mean, who gives a shit? At least we can try. But I think it'd be neat, and I'd kind of like to get into more of see some more of the older arena house shows and God damn it, arena shows and house shows.
Well, going to be starting off Big Lou against Paul Diamond, it looks like, David.
Yes, indeed.
Look at this outfit. Sorry, my sinuses are activated this morning. This JT Southern reminds me of again, a player character who invested in the simulation to get all the premium shit but has no idea how to play the game. So he's just tuned the difficulty all the way down and his skills all the way up so that all he has to do is come in and body slam somebody to win.
Big Lou Winston. Boy, he's a big one. He is tall. Has always been impressive as far as his size. Had an attitude problem now and then. Look out, Jerry Bryant jumped in there. Paul Diamond leaps over and drop kicks Big Lou. And there's one for...
Do you see that goon just standing there waiting for Paul Diamond to drop kick him?
Good measure for Jerry Bryant. So the Memphis Vice not having a very good beginning to this match here today. Paul Diamond taking the measure of both of them.
Oh, also somebody on YouTube pointed out that Tracy Smothers' phrase that I couldn't remember was "Southern born, Southern bred, and when I die, I'll be Southern dead." And then he says something like, guaranteed to never rust, buckle, break, chip, or whatever. But the thing I couldn't remember was "Southern born, Southern bred, and when I die, I'll be Southern dead." That's what it was. And brother, he says it non-fucking stop in Smoky Mountain Wrestling every promo.
Conference time down in the corner of the Memphis Vice and Ron Sexton. And stepping back through the ropes, there is Big Lou Winston.
Yeah, Ultimate Warrior. At least Warrior, you can argue whether he was good on promos, but fuck, they were memorable. They made you take notice of it. He was over. I honestly think the Ultimate Warrior is probably 10 times the worker of JT Southern based off of what I've seen. I love the Love Connection streams too, but there's it's one of those shows where there's only so many episodes. I guess I could go on I keep forgetting that I don't have to stream off of YouTube. I could go to I could stream on YouTube Daily Motion videos and shit like that, but I don't even in the moment when I'm high, I don't even think about it. But I like Love Connection. I just got to find more. I found a ton of Morton Downey Jr. episodes though.
Diamond. All right, come on. Winston made the tag on Jerry Bryant. Paul Diamond turns to make the tag, and here's J.T. Southern.
What's the tights say on Memphis Vice?
Southern gets a very warm...
Oh, is that what you were talking about? Rump Shaker? Oh my, they have the worst lettering on their attire.
Reception from the audience here as he stepped through the ropes. Upset Bryant a little bit. Took a moment to yell at him.
JT Southern.
Bryant Into the middle of the ring. Side headlock on J.T. Southern. Southern lets him back into the ropes. Fires him off into the ropes. Bryant caught him with his shoulder. This time, J.T. rolls him down to the mat. Grabs him by the arm again.
Tag into recently militarized PTSD-suffering former drug addict Paul Diamond.
Winston came in to help out. Sexton in to help out. And J.T. Southern has taken care of all three of them.
Well, it's probably going to be a lot of old TV shows and documentaries and shit like that for the foreseeable future, because I think, and this isn't a criticism at all. I'm just saying, like, Ben and Grace are primarily in like commentary mode right now, which I like to watch, but doing commentary on someone doing commentary is, is a bit much. I did one when she watched a Red Pill show, but that was a little bit different. But so it'll probably be like a lot of old TV stuff or whatever I can scrounge up from Boyd.
They're all down yelling at the referee. I can just imagine they're saying, hey, he's pulling hair, he's pulling tight. There's no way any other way he could have gotten us off our feet. But it doesn't make any difference. Sexton counted back out of the ring.
The problem with Boyd content on a live stream, unless it's something like when we do a Savvy Man stream, is that like you lose it. Like that crazy video we watched yesterday, I put it in like intentionally at the end because I wasn't really sure if it was kind of weird to watch it. But like if you want to see that, like, and you want to see my commentary, like you have to dig through like that entire stream, you know what I mean? Like the Savvy Guy ones are okay, or the Jimmy ones, because I like the streams to be focused. I want you to know when you come in here, like, this is going to be old school wrestling pretty much from start to finish. Like we might do something at the end, but when I do like the Boyd things of like 10 or 12 different people, like then it feels like if anybody ever wanted to see those, there's really not a good way to access them. So I kind of want to try to keep the streams like themed, like heavily themed, just so that they're easier for like the viewer to know what they're getting into. How's it going, Ed?
He's not the legal man in there. Legal man in there is Jerry Bryant. He has to step back through the rope. Bryant against, well, it's not going to be Southern. JT has made a tag, and Tracy Smothers. Jerry Bryant tags Lou Winston. So it's Tracy Smothers against Big Lou. Tracy, winner in a tournament of the Mid-America Championship. He has hung on to that belt. Still has.
Are you talking about my audios cutting out or the wrestling audios cutting out?
Tracy, round behind Lou Winston. Good move. Rolls him to the ropes. Oh, but Big Lou held on, and he's happy with himself. Tracy drop kicks him right through the ropes and down onto the floor. And now Big Lou is not smiling. Big Lou with a worried look on his face. And again, he and Bryant both yelling at the referee. These are the two best complainers. If they ever have a college course for complaining, Bryant and Big Lou will be the perfect professors. Back on the rope, Tracy Smothers. Big Lou hit him with the right hand. Tracy let him have it with a right hand. Now there's a move you would not have seen from Tracy Smothers a year ago. But he has learned if somebody hammers you with a fist, one way to combat that happening again is to pop him right back. That's what he did to Winston.
Oh, so I don't know. I don't see anything on my end, but I don't really know what I'm doing.
Paul Diamond.
Like, is anybody else fascinated with the JT Southern thing? Just because, like, we're seeing in real time how a promotion would protect somebody, but then like try to get them seasoned. You know what I mean? Like, we're seeing him, like, they just put him out there to see what he could do, and he was pretty not great. So then they've been, protecting him in these matches and letting him keep getting over. And now we're seeing him put into like tag matches where he's maybe like getting a little bit more time. I just think it's interesting because now we don't really see, they come up on TV after they've been through the Indies and NXT and all that kind of stuff. So I just think it's kind of neat to see how there's nowhere you could hide this guy because he's got it. You can't, You know what I mean? Like, you can't just put a guy out there like that's the shits over and over and over again, I guess, unless it's the son of the promoter or whatever. So it's like, it's interesting to see how it's cutting out every 3 seconds. Uh-oh. I don't know. I've got green on everything. Hang on. Let's see. Hold on, I'm checking something. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything on my end. I don't know. It could be just my internet is shit, but if the video's okay, I don't know. Maybe it's an issue with OBS. Try exiting the stream. Wow, thanks, moderator. Tell people to fucking leave the stream. Yeah, and unlike, don't you guys think it's a dick move whenever LolCow Live does the members only streams and Keemstar tells everybody to refresh so that they get kicked out of the members only stream? Yeah, I know it is. If you could have seen me stream on Twitch, it was a constant disaster. Like, I had even less idea what I was doing then than I do now. All right, let's get back into I don't remember what I was saying. Who cares?
The arm barred. Big Lou raked his fingers across Paul's eyes. That broke the hold. Winston.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, I think it's neat to see how they're building JT Southern, not just as far as a push, but actually, like, preparing him, like, seasoning him in the ring, but it's all happening in front of, their main audience. Like, they can't hide him on a feeder league or something.
Has made the tag, and I think this is the first official look in the match at Ron Sexton.
Oh, shit.
Ron Sexton out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Paul Diamond over to the corner gets the tag, and here's Tracy. Tracy smothers over the top rope, goes after Sexton. And Winston, since he's there, Bryant jumps down off the ring apron so he won't get hit. Tracy Smothers really showing that he can be an aggressive wrestler.
Mid-America champion Tracy in there right now with a guy who is one of several guys who say, hey, I can beat that Tracy Smothers. I want a title shot. Sexton has been hollering that, saying I can beat him. And
oh, we'll do Memphis wrestling again tomorrow. But Saturday, I got a movie. I got a really weird looking shot on video movie, but I've never actually watched it. So we're going to all fly. Well, some of you might have seen it. I don't remember what the name of it is. It's not like a really well-known movie, but it's going to be one of those like watch blind on YouTube, so that's really good. I'm not going to look up whether it has nudity or anything like. We're just going to find out in the moment. I think that's the way to live. And then next week we'll definitely have a day and watch that NWA house show and see how that goes. They get a sugar daddy at YouTube, or people need to troubleshoot. Well, listen.
He's in there having a chance to trade licks with him, and look at Tracy go. Boy, you made a good point a little bit ago. This Smothers has really gotten aggressive.
He has the deed. Hey, we got him all.
Did you see that terrible forearm by Big Lou?
All in there now. Six-man match.
Hey, Michael McCafferty.
And 6 men in action. Bryant against Diamond. Winston against Smothers. Tracy Smothers against Sexton. Sexton is out of the ring. Down on the floor. Tracy coming off the ropes. Whoa, and he let him have it with a right hand. Down here on the floor. Referee trying to get them to stop and get back up in the ring. He's counting there on the apron.
Tracy's heard some of those.
He counted them out.
He counted out Tracy Smothers and
See, this is good too because it's letting him get out there and do some moves, but there's so much going on that they may not be paying attention to him specifically,
Double count out.
I mean, King, I have no idea on this one, but I kind of like the idea of watching something with chat instead of like showing chat something that, I think is interesting. Does that make sense? We can learn together.
There's the two legal men in the ring. The action still goes on as Paul Diamond just fires Jerry Bryant.
We watched one on Twitch one time, and I completely forgot, and it showed this dude's entire ass, and then like there was a topless woman in it, but I didn't get in any trouble or anything.
And JT in there with Big Lou, but Tracy continues.
Oh, no problem, He-Man. I appreciate you letting me know. I may seem like I'm too high to care, but I do care. I at least want the audio and video to be like bottom basement functional.
To go with Ron Sexton. Evidently, he heard some of the comments that had been made from Sexton about Smothers being a paper champion. Now they're trying to pull him apart and get him back. Big Lou and Jerry Bryant pulling Sexton off, and Tracy Smothers being held by Paul Diamond.
Ron Sexton, he's always getting pulled off somewhere.
JT Southern, what a whale of an opening piece of action on this championship wrestling program.
Quite a match. It went to 5 minutes, 16 seconds before they were both counted out. Now they're going at it again down here. Sexton and Smothers. I think you're right. I think Tracy was mighty upset with Sexton with some of the comments that had been made. And he was out to prove today that he could, in fact, beat him in the ring or on the floor or wherever.
Double count out, and that's all there is to that great six-man opener. We've got more of it. Be back in just...
That's how you want to end a big skirmish like that, man. Smothers looks pissed. He's in great shape here. Wow.
Just a moment.
I'm kind of used to, my visual of him is from about 20 years later when like he wasn't in as good a shape. So it's just interesting to see him this young again.
The big action Wednesday night, I got to tell you, going to be something else, my friend, right there at the Evansville Coliseum. One of the matches will be an international tag title bout in which the new champions, Jeff Jarrett and Pat Tanaka, will be putting the titles up against the hair of both Akio Sato and Tarzan Goto in that championship match.
A double hair match. I almost used this as the thumbnail.
Yes, I'm very upset because that in order to have the championship title back now.
Oh, I love after school specials. I've watched, oh my God, I've watched a ton of them over on Twitch. But yeah, I think there's some on here we could definitely get away with watching.
We have to put now my two Imperial boys have to put their hair on stake, and I don't like that.
There's a really good one. I can't remember what the name of it is, but I did a review for it. It was so nuts. It was like you remember Audrey from European Vacation? It was that actress, and then another famous actress when she was, it was Jan from The Office. Jan from The Office when she was like a teenager. And Jan's parents are each of their parents are going through a divorce, but they're dealing with it in different ways. But they're bonding over it. And then one of them is into like shoplifting for pleasure, and the other is into like ritualistic witchcraft. It was a pretty interesting one.
Because the promoter are just giving us a runaround.
And Jerry Jarrett will be back.
But this time I told you what, my boys get confidence and we're going to take the title back.
We'll find that out. Don't forget, Jerry will be right there at ringside this particular week. Fire and Flame going to be right there in action against the Mod.
Boo! I'm over Fire and Flame. Jesus Christ.
That brother right there in Evansville is going to be a hot time in the old town tonight, brother.
Okay.
J.D. Costello, you and your mouth.
I'm back on. Fire and Flame just said it was going to be a hot time in the old town tonight.
What, brother? I knew it would come to us, brother. I knew it would be between us. And when it's all over, it's going to be us, the Southern Tag Team Champions. So help me. And I'm going to burn what little bit of hair you left off that bald head of yours.
Oh, one way or the other, going to be mighty tough when the Mod Squad.
Yeah, there's a scene in it, in the movie, Stephen, where Audrey from European Vacation is kneeling by a bathtub, and she has her fucking face painted like she's some kind of demented harlequin, and then she's got this like blood smeared all over the shower wall and these occult symbols. Then she's drowning a doll of Jan from The Office in the bathtub, and like Jan from The Office comes in and sees it. It's a really weird movie.
And Fire and Flame get at it same way when it'll be.
You know what I really wish we could watch on here? Like, that I really wish? I wish we could watch old UFCs or Pride Fighting Championships on here. I would love to, like, do commentary on those.
Jerry Lawler teaming with the Killer against Bam Bam Bigelow and
Hell
Larry
yeah.
Sharp. Killer, let me ask you a
Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I've got to do this. Oh, whoops. Okay, so I just got to put these on. I actually got some Larry Sharps. Take a look at these. Perfect Larry Sharps. His are a little darker than mine. It's hard to tell in the light.
question. You think I was a thorn in your side before? Kenny D, you think I was the problem when you were slapped up to me? Well,
Wow.
you ain't seen nothing, because now I belong in the ring. I'm going to be in the ring, and I got the biggest and the baddest and the meanest Bam Bam Bigelow, Beast from the East, as my tag team partner. And you and Lawler think you can deal with that? Well, we're going to find it out come Wednesday night, because that's going to be one whale of a night of action.
Absolutely
6 outstanding matches will be at the Evansville Coliseum coming out. Be sure and get your tickets and be down there. We'll give you the whole card in just a moment. Okay, we're about ready to get back in the ring. We're loving every single week that we've had a Southern Tag Championship. Eddie, come on out here. Eddie Marlin. We've got a...
Eddie Marlin, isn't it? I wonder. I don't know. I mean, were they open about the fact that this guy is related to the Jarretts? Was Eddie Marlin a shoot name, or was he like was he, you know what I mean? Was he a different, is that Jerry Jarrett's dad, or is he like the father-in-law? You know what I mean?
Southern Tag title lined up for today, my friends.
That's right. I want to get Fire and Flame out here and make sure they get the belts, make sure they're ready to get in the ring to face the Mr. Team.
Stipulations laid down by Eddie Marlin several weeks ago. If they don't have the belts, they're gone. And if they're here and want to be on TV, they got to defend the title.
They've got the belts, and they're all ready to go in the ring. I got your Mr. Team. If y'all get in the ring, I'll bring them out here, and y'all can go at it.
There's the simple
I want to
instruction.
ask one question, and I don't want nobody to think that I am crying or backing up for 1 minute. But what I would like to know...
Oh, I'm gonna be on for a long time. I got hours to go.
is how can an organization of this magnitude, a promoter of your caliber, Eddie Marlin, put such a stipulation on such a most prestigious belt, to where a fella like me and my partner have to come out here every single week under all these odds and defend against the big, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent, and still win. Now, what I want to know is, how long does this masquerade have to continue before we can get this stipulation alleviated?
How long does this masquerade have to go on until we can get this? What did he say?
Let me tell you one thing. Here a few weeks ago, y'all did something in the studio that you know that you shouldn't have done.
Alleviated.
The week after that, you did something in the parking lot you shouldn't have done. Your manager was suspended, and I set up the rules for y'all.
You watched this episode and then you went out and got in a fight? It gave you a higher probability of violence. All right, we'll see you later, He-Man. We need that Marcy lady from yesterday to come in and talk about how this is bad for us.
To stay here, and as long as you're here, you will abide by the rules. That means you will defend those belts in that ring on this TV every time you wrestle here. Your Mr. Team will be up there. If you get in the ring right now, they'll be right
Let me
out
tell
there.
you something, Eddie Marlin, before I get in that ring. Last week, you called somebody to
Get in that ring, you big sumbitch. I want to hear him get mad again.
leave this town. And I told you that it was going to be even more devastating. Now, something's going to hit close to home to you. I'm telling you right now, pal, and you're not going to like it.
Oh, are they gonna go after Jeff? And then we'll find out that, like, is that how, or maybe they've already revealed it in previous storylines. I don't know. Well, no, because Jeff just got here. But maybe everybody else but me knows that Jerry Jarrett and this guy are related.
This gonna bring big old tears in your eyes, and when you cry, you gonna see this face in those tears. You understand me? Now you get whoever
You're gonna see my face in your tears, buddy.
got out here right now. Let's go.
All right, what do you think? It's gonna be Phil Hickerson and who? He's teamed up with Joe LaDuke. He's teamed up with Giant Hillbilly. So who's it gonna be this time? It's got to be Phil Hickerson, right? Because we got the blood feud going. But who's going to team up with him? I hope it's Joe LaDuke again.
Well, you hear Fire and Flame, and I hope they're not talking about a repeat of where they messed up Eddie's car out there in the parking lot by painting all over it. That's a cheap, low way to try to get back at something they don't like, and they brought it on themselves. Fire and Flame in the ring right now, and we are all ready for
shit.
Here they are, Dave. Look at.
Is the crowd actually cheering the Mod Squad?
Yeah. Wow, the Mod Squad, the mystery team, sent in here to go against Fire and Flame for the Southern Belt.
Guys used to be our partners. What are they trying to do here? Let's Russell, I'm telling you, these used to be our partners. These are our cohorts.
Evidently, you got the titles and they want them back. They had them at one time.
And where's JD Costello? I want to talk to JD.
JD is not here this particular match, but the Mod Squad.
Hey, Dave's channel, how's it going? I don't like Fire and Flame. I don't enjoy them in the ring, but I do like they seem like old 1920s bullies when they talk, which I think is entertaining. But I think they would make amazing figures. I think they're action figure ready.
Squad is, and they're waiting in the ring for you right now.
I'm gonna buy 2 extra King Mabel figures, and I'm gonna do live streams of me customizing my own Fire and Flame action figures.
If we can get the belts over here, and referee Jerry Calhoun is telling them, come on up here. It's a title defense, special time limit for television.
Which tugboat match did you watch? I watched a tugboat match the other day. And I agree. I mean, Jesse Ventura was great on commentary. Him, and I still think maybe I like Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon the best. But Jesse Ventura and Gorilla is almost just as good. Don Bass. Good old Don Bass. Toyetic.
One fall 30 minutes rather than the normal 6.
So are the Mod Squad, honestly, especially with their trunks pulled up. You'd have to make... they'd have to have their own unique torso. But would it turn here just above the dick like it should? Or would it turn right under the tits? Which is what would make sense, tactile, in a tactile sense.
60 minutes in time. And big conversation going on between Fire and Flame. They've got a choice. They can hand the belts over and walk out of here if they don't want to get in the ring with the Mod Squad.
Now they want a conference with the Mod Squad.
Little negotiation. Yeah. They forget the fact the Mod Squad held those belts for a long time, and brother, they have been hot. They want them back. Here comes Eddie Marlin back out.
Oh, you missed Ron Sexton. He was in the opening match, teamed up with Memphis Vice against JT Southern, who had a badass outfit. It looked like he was in that old Christian rock band Striper. It's like a black and yellow, really cool looking outfit. Who else was it? Tracy Smothers and former drug addict Paul Diamond.
And I think
it was like a fuck finish, big brouhaha at the end, Pier 6.
Going to make it very clear to him.
You can either get in there and defend them, or you can hit the road.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it. Did you hear the crowd pop for that? You can either defend them or you can leave, and they're like, hell yeah.
That is it. Crowd loving it. You just boil down all the rhetoric, get it to a simple statement. Either get in there and defend them or hit the road. Whoa! Look at the Mod Squad going right after him. Spike going after Fire, and Basher with Flame over in the corner. They whip them together. I wonder what that registered on the Richter scale when those two guys hit. Woo! Minor tremor taking place. Whoa. Look at that one. Double shoulder. One. Flame was able to get back in and time to pull him off. They had a pin down on Fire. And now it's Spike who's...
You think old boy could get him up for that? He like whips him into the rope so that he would have, if he could jump with it, I bet he could hit him with that, like, I don't know what you call it, like that little like power slam.
In there with Flame. Fire off the top rope, and as he was coming down, the referee was going in between, and Spike nailed him with one to the...
Oh, and if you missed it, Dave's channel, Lawler and the Giant Hillbilly are teaming up on this card.
Midsection.
He's working an abdominal stretch. Not easy to do against a guy that big.
Hey, really?
How the hell are you going to stretch that abdomen?
I was just looking at that. Good night. You'd have to be about 6'10" before you could ever get an abdominal on.
You'd have to be Ben Thorpe size to get away with a move like that on a large individual like Flame.
One of those two guys. Basher in, slammed into the corner, and a big elbow.
Now, see, they're cheering this team that they've consistently booed, and they're loving it. And I guarantee you next week, if they did something to piss them off, the fans would boo them, and they would love it. Like, they don't give a shit about how often somebody turns heel or face. Like, as long as the storytelling is there for them to invest in, like, I feel like they just don't give a shit. Like, they're just there to have fun. And if you're a good guy this week and you're a bad guy next week, like, they don't care. I just think I wish I could, I kind of do when we watch these, honestly. Like, I am able to kind of, well, plus all the sedation from the drugs, but I can kind of like turn my brain off and have that. But like, I wish I could have that, like, about all, like, I wish I could turn off that, like, critical part of my brain and just, like, roll with everything and, like, art and entertainment.
Crowd's hollering, folks, go Basher, go. You can tell that even though there are no favorites.
Ben telling people in the crowd to find a bridge. Ben would have been a great ECW era manager where he could have, like, really gotten nasty with the people in the crowd like Bubba Ray used to do. Like, I feel like Ben would be really good at, like, starting a riot just by taunting people.
The Mod Squad, when it comes down to choosing between Fire and Flame, they a whole lot rather see the Mod Squad beat them than Fire and Flame with some of the stuff they've done in the past.
Oh, speaking of Uncle Elmer and his fake watches, there's a guy on... remember we talked about it very briefly, but I told you that I was watching the new 90 Day Fiancé, and that there's like this douchebag Muslim guy who's in a feud at the tell-all with this black autistic guy. But that Muslim guy, he wears fake like obviously fake watches, and like his girlfriend or his wife has like obvious fake like luxury bags and shit. And I did think about, like, oh, I wonder if he got his watch from Uncle Elmer.
Fire and Flame pretty well taking control here, though. It was Mod Squad in control early, but about the last 40 seconds, it's pretty well been Fire and Flame.
Mod Squad, as we have said many times, big, rugged, very muscular.
Oh, too, this is kind of non sequitur, but I'll probably never think about it again, so I wanted to mention it. I talked when J.D. Costello first came into the territory how, like, I liked him, but I couldn't connect with him because it felt like he was performing being a manager instead of being a manager. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then, of course, he proved me wrong and just flourished. But Conrad Thompson they were talking about, or no, I'm sorry. Jim Cornette and Brian Last were talking about Don Callis in AEW, and they were saying that, like, that's how they felt about him, was that, like, they thought he was an entertaining performer, but that, like, he he just seemed like an actor there. He didn't feel like an organic part of the show. So I just kind of reminded me of that, and I'll probably never think about it again. So
Big upper body development, but good night. Look at the size of the guys they're going against. A team that weighs over 600 pounds totally.
Well, they're outweighed by more than 100 pounds. Mod Squad big, but they weigh in at 4.
Outweighed by more than 100 pounds. Lance Russell, one day he can pick somebody's weight down to a pound. The next, he thinks that there's only 100-pound difference between these two teams.
91.
Oh, shit.
Go for Fire and Flame, and wow.
Over the rope went Fire. As he was popped up over that rope, the referee is knocked down, and Basher, look at here. He suplexes him back in the ring. He's got him down. Count of 1, 2, 3, but there's no referee. 1, 2, 3.
There we go. Get the fuck out. Let's get Eddie Marlin out here. Let's get these boys. Let's get these boys out of here.
In to do the counting.
Oh, I don't actually know anything about Don Callis in AEW. It just reminded me of it because that was something I thought about JD Costello, but then I was like second guessing myself, and I'm like, is this because I'm just really high and that's not like really a thing? But then just to hear him, like, it's not a criticism of Don Callis or Don Phallus, as Jim Cornette says.
And he got the pin on Fire in the Southern Tag Belt.
I'll listen to the Bruce Pritchard if it's about a specific thing that I want to hear about, which is primarily like Houston. I like to hear his like pre-WWF stuff, but I do like to listen to Tony Schiavone just to fuck around, because that show just seems like a complete mess. Like,
Go back to the Mod Squad in a stunner here over Fire and Flame. As the Mod Squad comes up with a 1-2-3, Fire and Flame, call them the ex-champions.
Wait a minute here. I think the referee is saying something about one of the Mod Squad throwing Fire over the top rope, or Flame over the top rope.
Oh, bullshit.
Now,
no way. They're gonna overturn it because he threw the guy over. Yeah, the Houston Paul Bosch stuff, because he does have an insight on that's pretty valuable. During WWF, there's a million people around that, tell stories.
Referee Jerry Calhoun is talking to Eddie Marlin.
Jerry Calhoun's taking the belt.
About what?
On the Mod Squad for throwing him over the top rope.
Oh, no way. That'd be it for me. That'd be absolutely it for me. I'd be picking my chair up about right now, throwing it into the ring. I'd be being removed by security, maybe beaten by the Mod Squad. I couldn't take that.
Fire was put out over the top rope.
Yeah.
Now watch this.
Here.
He's coming right at him. He ducks underneath, grabbed his leg and threw him up over the top rope. The referee caught him
I would be
as he went
hot.
over, and he was knocked down immediately.
As Eddie Marlin.
I would have to, as a fan, write a letter to the office and be like, look, we got to get this. Eddie Marlin, he's done. Eddie Marlin is done. Fire and Flame have cooked Eddie Marlin. He's going to let this shit go out of control. He's got referees overturning matches on the word of the heels. What? It's ridiculous. Eddie Marlin needs to be immediately fired, removed from the territory. That's it.
The promoter unhappy about it, but
And what happened is they call a disqualification. The Mod Squad.
Oh man, if he came out there past me right now, I'd fucking lose it. I'd be like, you dumb son of a bitch. Can't you do anything right? You can't even get the belts off of these two guys. Get the fuck out of here, Eddie.
Who had the belts in their hand, were disqualified and are not the...
Are you being serious when you say that, Rush Limbaugh? Because that's the tugboat match that I watched, and I kind of thought, like, you know what? It's a stupid gimmick, but, like, Fred Ottman was a pretty good performer, and now you're saying that you went through the same thing. I would be going off on fucking... I'm so furious with Eddie Marlin right now.
Champions that we had thought.
We are our belts. We're the champions. The belts are back where they belong.
If they put Eddie Marlin in the Hall of Fame, I'll burn it down.
All we want, Eddie Marlin, is for you to sign a match any place, anytime, because we beat those crooks right there. But we want a no disqualification match, because that's how they've been winning all their matches. That's right. And you know we can wrestle just like they can. We can get as dirty as they can.
Yeah.
So we want you to sign a match, no disqualification anywhere.
See, I think the Shockmaster is one of his best gimmicks. He was smart, though. He played the game. He became friends with Hogan. He made it known, like, hey, I can help, you know, I can help you as your partner. I'm a monster heel that you can get put over by. And once he was in with him, it seemed like he got taken pretty good care of, at least in WWF. Did he do much over in WCW? If so, I really don't remember it outside of, like, Shockmaster. What other gimmicks did he have there?
That is the way Flying Flames win winning the matches and keeping the belt, so just make it a no disqualification.
That's right. That's all we ask for. All we want.
You've been guaranteed the title shot. You've all.
Yeah, way to go, Eddie Marlin. After the Mod Squad has won the match, we're like, hey, listen, next time we'll change things. Eddie Marlin, he's lost in the sauce.
So got a no disqualification whenever it comes up.
We guarantee we'll be the next Southern Tag Team Champions too. You mark my word.
Spike and Basher, the Mod Squad. Boy, let me tell you one thing. I thought they had it right then and there, and we saw the...
You know what I'm thinking right now? Being this high, if I was Eric Bischoff back then, I would have given Fred Ottman the Glacier gimmick. What if they brought Glacier out, right? And then they brought Fred Ottman out in, like, his onesie, and, like, it would be, like, you know, cold related, and they could call him Ice. Well, they already had an Iceberg, maybe. No, they had Ice Train. Yeah, so maybe they didn't want to go with, like, maybe that was too many, like, Arctic. That would be too many Arctic gimmicks.
Situation, but it was a question. First, I didn't think the referee saw it, and he got knocked down.
Yeah, they definitely can't do a promo, which we've never really noticed, right? Because we've always seen him represented by J.D. Costello. I hope he's not gone, but I do know that he leaves in 1986, which sucks, but... I'm going to go into, like, a really... The content's going to go in a really dark direction once we finish 1986 Memphis. I'm going to be, like, so mentally depressed from it that we're gonna go down some really dark roads content-wise.
He was evidently getting ready to disqualify him right there.
Yeah, John Tena was the shit, man. What was did you ever see that match he had against somebody over in Japan and it turned into like a half a shoot? The ice hole? You know what, dude? If you would have pitched that to Vince Russo back then, he would have been like, oh, hell yeah, bro. The ice hole. It's beautiful. They can't censor me for saying ice hole. You could say ice hole. Oh, my God, the ice hole. Glacier and the ice hole.
In and there, but he got knocked down. And so the situation is that the Fire and Flame team will keep the championship belts. Eddie Marlin guaranteed them that they would in the future have a title shot, and it would be a no disqualification. Whoa, what a couple of openers we've had today. And we still got a bunch more. We'll take time out, be back in a moment. Wednesday night, Evansville Coliseum, 6 outstanding matches, and they go like this. Paul Diamond goes against Sexy Ron Sexton, the giant hillbilly against Big Mr. Universe.
The drug addict against the gigolo.
Then there's going to be a Mid-America title match. Tracy Smothers will be going against an eerie, mysterious, and not only that, successful wrestler.
Fuck yes. Kabuki.
In the great Kabuki, you take a look at this guy, and he just scares you taking a look at the video of him.
This guy's got a Darth Vader mask on.
Tracy Smothers, without a question, the greatest challenge of his Mid-America title reign. Then it'll be an international tag title match with the titles against Sato and Goto's hair. That's right, Jeff Jarrett and Pat Tanaka defending those titles with the hair at stake of Sato and Goto. Southern Tag Team titles, the Mod Squad challenging Fire and Flame. What a battle that one's going to be. And then finally, Bam Bam Bigelow teaming with pretty boy Larry Sharp to go against Jerry the King
Larry Sharp is getting in the ring. Oh, we don't get to see it. Fuck.
Lawler and his partner, the Killer. All of that coming up Wednesday night. Jeff Jarrett, Pat Tanaka up in the ring.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm a big fan of the Renegades. I don't know who they are. I don't know anything. I know they're gonna lose, but I love these random masked people that pop up in that when they throw the masks on the jobbers in Memphis. I wish I could have action figures of all these like super generic but also weird masked wrestlers.
Right now, their opponents wearing masks, stepping up onto the ring apron. These are the Renegades.
I don't count the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Only the Major League Baseball. Yeah, it's a really weird jump, but it's kind of neat. Like, it kind of makes me want to follow what Jeff Jarrett's doing now. But yeah, it's pretty especially not just the age factor, because I think Jeff Jarrett's aged really well, but just him going from being like this pipsqueak to this gigantic like steroid juggernaut has just been amazing. I still think, I mean, it's nice that he's getting a run in AEW like this. I think it's criminal that they wouldn't bring him back for one more run. The shape he's in and the way he can go, like, he absolutely should be getting one last like run in WWF or WWE, in my opinion.
They're out of parts unknown. They weigh in at a total of about 458 pounds. Jeff Jarrett out of Nashville, Tennessee. Pat Tanaka out of Hawaii. The referee calls for the bell to be sounded, and we are underway. Jeff Jarrett against one of the Renegades.
The Renegade team is a lanky team. Boy, they sure have. They're not the heaviest guys we ever saw, but they sure got good height and good muscular development.
Jeff Jarrett barring the left arm. I guess since that Renegade started the match, we'll call him Renegade number 1.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah.
Tag on Pat Tanaka.
Tanaka with a shot.
In WWF, whenever the jobber would come out to be like, oh, here's Iron Mike Sharp. Here's where he's from, how much he weighs. Now, listen, we've seen him against this guy. Here's what he's done somewhere else. You know, here's how his method of approach. And then in Memphis, they're just like, is this number 1 or number 2?
Wow. Did he drill him?
You want the Jeff Jarrett guitar in hand telling women to go back to the kitchen gimmick? We got it. Ben Thorpe, he just doesn't have a guitar. Rich can be his guitar proxy.
He sure did. I'm surprised he could get up even with help.
Renegade number 1, a little slow coming up off the mat as Pat Tanaka tags Jeff Jarrett. Jeff off the second rope, drops down with the elbow. And the Renegade over by his corner makes the tag on Renegade number 2. I think he's still addled from that chop that Pat Tanaka gave him. Jeff goes immediately to work, takes that arm, rolls him over, and bars it back up on their feet. Whip into the rope and to the midsection. Down goes the Renegade number 2 in a count of 1.
Jeff Jarrett putting the heat on that left arm. Bars it again. Renegade trying to take him down. He does, but Jeff Jarrett hangs on to the hole. Look at that. Over to the corner and the tag on Pat Tanaka.
Classy Hawaiian comes in with a chop and throttles him with another big one.
hits him with another one. Those are good chops, but boy, it's nothing like what happened to Renegade number 1. He'll remember that one probably the rest of his wrestling career.
I hear him starting to holler in the corner. I think he's just now getting his wind back from being nailed by Tanaka like that.
Tanaka with Renegade number 2. He's able to hold him down to the mat. You see the Renegade reaching for Pat's hair. The referee was right there to stop that.
Tanaka giving away a lot of height, but there's the break is called for by referee Jerry Calhoun.
Sorry, I had to switch strains. This one kind of I was feeling like a molecule. And then I was trying to take a picture of my cat, and he moved before I could get the picture. It's heartbreaking.
And to the center of the ring they go. Tanaka slides in as the tag goes to Renegade number 1. Tag on Jeff. And Jeff going up with that drop kick, and brother, he can get up in the air. You got to believe that. As he gets up this time, had a little more distance, and he popped him down as the Renegade staggers back up to his feet. Tanaka grabs him in that tiger suplex, pops him back down, gets a 1, 2, 3, and that is the victory for Jarrett and Tanaka.
3 minutes, 2 seconds, and wow, what moves we saw from both Jarrett and Tanaka. Tanaka wraps it up with that incredible tiger suplex. No way that Renegade number 1 was going to get up from that one. 3:02 again the time.
Okay, back in a moment with more action.
I forget what the name of it is. It was like it was one that only came in a pre-roll, but I broke it down so I could use it in the one hitter. But it was like it's like a super deep indica, and I just was like sitting here, and then I was just like, I just recognized like my molecule ow, the cat just grabbed me. I recognized my molecule status, and I was just like, I have to reverse course out of this doorway that we've walked through. So that's what I'm doing.
Akio Sato, Tarzan Goto, Tojo Yamamoto in the corner, their manager. And in the ring, their opponents, Jim Jameson and Mad Dog, as we are set to get it up.
I don't know if you can see him or not, but he's right behind me, and he's like purring like excessively loud, like in a psychotic way.
Underway here. This tag team match will be 1 fall, a 10-minute time limit. Mad Dog of the Bruise Brothers starting out against Tarzan Goto. Goto using the chops. Mad Dog's a big one. He'll weigh in at about 262 or 3. He makes the tag on his partner, Jim Jameson. Right hand. Ooh, popped him again.
Goto uses that head a lot.
Yeah.
And you've seen Akio Sato run people right into the head of Tarzan Goto.
Do y'all wear the same stuff? I wear like a rotation of clothes, yeah, but I wear the same hat, yeah.
They've made a tag, and the smaller of the Japanese team, both of them will weigh in right at the 225 mark, but
who's the guy teamed up with Mad Dog?
Akio Sato a little bit smaller than Tarzan Goto. But he's the vicious one, as Lance has pointed out, the finisher of the Japanese team. He's got Jameson up in the air and slams him.
Oh, Jameson, okay.
Right in the center of the square. Japanese team makes a tag. Tojo is wandering around ringside with that kendo stick while his team works in the ring. Tarzan Goto, boot to the top of the head. Jim Jameson on the mat. There you saw Tojo.
Goto, big body slam, and drops the elbow on Jameson. Grabs him by the hair and the wrist and picks him right up off the deck into the rope. The whip.
Oh, wow.
Knee lift.
Oh my God. Wow. Let's look at that again. What are we at? 28-31. That was a deep kick.
In the wrist and picks him right up off the deck into the ropes. The whip.
Oh, it was a knee.
Knee lift as Jim Jameson plants a couple of knees on Goto, and Goto
I'm sorry, I gotta see that one more
comes
time.
up off the canvas fighting as Jim Jameson.
Whoops. Okay, here we go.
Knee lift.
Oh, he got him in the
as
shoulder.
Jim
It looked
Jameson
great, though.
plants a couple of knees on Goto.
That actually looked really, really good. Wow. Like, I bought it in the moment, and I mean, it looked like he kneed him right in the fucking face.
And Goto comes up off the canvas, fighting back with a big right hand. Tag on Mad Dog.
Jameson was thrown right into the turnbuckles in the corner. Mad Dog was there to take the tag.
He's like, hey, I'm going to potato this motherfucker and then tag in the other guy.
Japanese team is tagged now, and Akio Sato back in against Mad Dog. Came right at you into the ropes. Bounced back into the ring. Sato puts him down with a cut.
Yeah, I love mixed martial arts. I was just saying earlier, I wish there was some way we could stream them here, but we can't. I tried to stream UFC 1 time, and the stream got taken down in like 10 minutes.
Number 1, 2, but at the 2 count, Mad Dog kicks out of it.
Goto again takes the tag and into the ring. Mad Dog going after him. Whoa. Big elbow. Goto is down.
Down to 1. Boy, Mad Dog came flying at him using all of his weight for extra advantage, but still, he couldn't hold Goto down for the 3 count.
Mad Dog kind of looks like if Abdullah the Butcher had gotten himself together and gotten into a little bit better shape.
Cover again. Count of 1, and Goto kicks out of it.
Surprising team of Jameson and Mad Dog. Oh, boy, there's that back kick and a side kick from
I gotta
Goto.
see those again.
And Mad Dog on the deck.
29-15.
Picked up.
Oh my
Count of
gosh.
1, and Goto kicks out of it.
Surprising team of Jameson and Mad Dog. Oh, boy, there's that back kick and a side kick from Goto. And Mad Dog on the deck.
Man, he double tapped his ass like a fucking laser. That was amazing.
Picked up, slammed again. Goto close by, and here comes Jim Jameson. We were going to say close by the corner. Jim takes the tag, but he's nailed as he comes through the ropes. Yamamoto with that kendo stick from the floor, and the referee over talking to him while Goto bangs Jameson down.
Like, you literally never know which match is just going to turn out to be amazing. Like, I would have never thought this was going to be a memorable match, but it definitely is. Those kicks and that oh man, that knee.
To the deck, picks him up, drops him over the knee, spears him with that head right in the base of the neck. Tags on Sato.
Was that move like a running dive bombing headbutt to the back of the neck?
Kyo Sato, and referee saying nope, no pile driver, no pile driver.
That wasn't a pile driver either.
Have we seen a power bomb in Memphis 1986 so far? I don't feel like we have.
Up with, he just drove him down to the mat, though, and he got him a 3 count. All right.
What did you think about the way that, even though like power bombs are like are nothing, like, you know, you see them all the time, the way that they did that like really made it feel like a holy shit moment. Like the referee being like, no, you can't pile drive him, and you're like, oh shit, he's just gonna pile drive him and get disqualified. And then he hits him with that power bomb, and it's just like, whoa, dude, what just happened? Like, that's amazing.
Right across the back of the neck.
Gojo very spirited and happy about his win from the
Let's
team.
watch that
All
again.
right, you got yours coming. Spears him with that head right in the base of the neck. Tags on Sato. Keo Sato, and referee saying, nope, no pile driver, no pile driver.
That wasn't a pile driver he ended up with. He just drove him down to the mat, though, and he got him a 3 count.
I mean, like, that was really interesting the way they did that. Wow, man, it really got, even though it was like not a particularly like brutal power bomb, like it really got it over, like the level of panic just around him with the pile driver.
Right across the back of the net.
Gojo very spirited and happy about his win from the team. That's all right. You got yours coming. The winners, Sato and Goto, which comes as no surprise.
Well, and I'm probably way over reading into it, but it was just like the way that my expectations were completely flipped. Like, especially when the referee turned his back, I thought, okay, now for sure he's just going to pile drive him, and then he'll cover him, and the referee will be like, oh, what happened? But that he did it like behind the referee's back like that was really interesting. It's almost like Eddie Marlin might come out next week and be like, you know, we can't overturn the results now, it's too late, but, you know, moving forward, the power, whatever, you know, they'll give it some Japanese name, move, you know, is banned.
But a good battle put up by Jameson and Mad Dog. As we've got, what was the time again, Dave?
4 minutes.
As a casual watcher, you thought it was a real fuck up with bad injury potential? Yeah, like it looked real. Like, that's what I mean. Like, that was actually a really controlled, really protected power bomb. Like, he held the brunt of his weight even when he put him down. Like, when he slammed him, he put hardly any of his weight down. But yeah, it looked real. It looked like it looked very real. That was really cool.
The time.
4 minutes even, and we've got more action. The awesome Bam Bam Bigelow coming up in just a moment.
I feel like it looks like he lands light. It looks like he really protects him, but let's see. Either way, you're just like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah, he put it down pretty soft. What a great Memphis moment that probably nobody cares about. Nobody's as deep diving it as I am mentally.
6 matches coming up Wednesday night, Evansville Coliseum. What a doggone fine night it's going to be of action and a half. International tag belts will be defended by the new...
I'm being pulled back through the doorway by the trunk of an elephant.
Champs, congratulations. Again, it's going to be Jeff and Pat defending against Sato and Goto, but their hair will be at stake, and your dad's going to be in your corner.
That's right. Dad's back in our corner, and I'm glad of that. First of all, I'd like to thank the people in Evansville for all the support they've given us. Me and Pat have been working hard the last couple of weeks, and we finally got those belts, man.
You got them, and congratulations on that, Pat.
That's right, Tojo. So you remember, this time we're the champions. We get the stipulations. So Sato and Goto, you have to sweat it out this week because
sorry about that. I forgot that I moved. I forgot about that. Sorry.
your hair is against our titles. So you remember that.
Wednesday night, they may remember.
I'm back through the doorway now, so I'll start fixing all these problems.
Remember that more than long.
Oh. 3 bald-headed Jets up there winning.
Right.
Love that.
The King and the Killer will be going against Bam Bam and Larry Sharp. What a night that's going to be.
Boy, we've been listening to Larry Sharp and Bam Bam Bigelow both run their mouths about how big and how bad they are. Well, you want to talk big and bad? What about it, Kenny D? Look at this man right
Tell
here.
about it, Jerry. We got the strength and the speed to do the mighty deed. And, baby, we got the agility and the ability to get away with it. And we're going to do it.
Wait, this guy's a good guy now? What the hell?
You tell him, King. We're going to get him, baby. The king of wrestling and the king of playing together. What you talking about?
Larry Sharp, you accused me of running and hiding, brother. Well, I'm going to be easy to find Wednesday night right in Evansville.
What I just
3
saw.
bald-headed Jets up there winning.
Right.
Oh boy.
remember, this time we're the
Listen to what Jerry Lawler says when he first comes up.
champions. We get the stipulations. So Sato and Goto, you have to sweat it out this week because your hair is against our titles. So you remember that.
Wednesday night, they may remember that more than long. Oh.
3 bald-headed Jets up there winning.
Right.
Love it.
The King and the Killer will will be going against Bam Bam and Larry Sharp. What a night that's going to be.
Boy, we've been listening to Larry Sharp and Bam Bam Bigelow both run their mouths about how big and how bad they are. Well, you want to talk big and bad? What about it, Kenny D? Look at this man right
Tell
here.
them about it, Jerry. We got the strength and the speed to do the mighty deed. And, baby, we got the agility and the ability to get away with it. And we're going to
There's some wild ass shit in this promo.
do it. You tell him, King. We're going to get him, baby. The king of wrestling and the king of playing together. What you talking about?
Larry Sharp, you accuse me of running and hiding, brother? Well, I'm going to be easy to find Wednesday night right in Evansville, Indiana. I'm going to be standing right alongside this man. And he talks about looking in my eyes and seeing fear. Well, I understand that we had a little different look in the eyes of Bam Bam Bigelow last week in Evansville, Indiana, when this man right here picked him up and slammed him almost through that mat. You couldn't believe you could be slammed, could you, Big?
Yeah, I remember that now. I remember that they had a match scheduled.
You didn't believe there was anybody strong enough to handle you. Well, brother, he's got the strength, and I got the brains, and the two of those together spells defeat for you and Larry Sharp Wednesday night in Evansville.
Oh,
I still want to see Ronnie Garvin against Joe LeDuc.
right there at the Coliseum, 6 outstanding matches. It is going to be some night and a half. We hope maybe you'll make your plans to be out. Bring a friend with you.
Hey, I want to tell you guys something. The reason that I'm in a weird mindset today is because I did a video for Boyd Watch today, and it was this guy who normally does like action figure reviews, but he did a video called The Great Reset, or there's a reset, a world reset coming, or something like that. And he had some really wild ideas, and I want to tell you one of them, and I want to hear some feedback on it. He says that, well, you guys know that like people are like, how did they build the pyramids? How did they have the technology? You know, there must be some other explanation because, you know, humanity couldn't have possibly built the pyramids. Like, you know, you hear that sometimes. This guy said that there's no way that New York City was built by humans, that New York City already existed and was built when humanity came along, because there's no evidence of us building it. There's no conceivable way that he says that, like, there's no way you could look at a situation on paper and explain how it was built. What do you guys think about that? Do you think New York City do you think New York City was built by a previous incarnation of humanity? Do you think New York City is built by aliens?
Bam Bam Bigelow, the killer. And that music indicates that Bam Bam is on his way. Here he comes. Bam Bam Bigelow, the Southern heavyweight title holder. And I'm looking at Pretty Boy.
I couldn't believe, like, I don't think I'd ever heard that take before. The Empire State Building was not done by humans.
Larry Sharp, not in his usual sport coat and slack at all, but decked out in wrestling attire and a jumpsuit, Larry.
Let me tell you something. There's been an interesting chain of events that's taken place over the last 8 weeks. We've asked for Lawler in the ring, but he's always come up with something. He's always sent another sheep to slaughter. Now, you heard all these people cheering for Bam Bam Bigelow. You heard them cheering for Larry Sharp. Not just
Now remember, this guy normally, like 90% of the time, is talking about action figure reviews.
Jerry Lawler. Well, let me tell you something. Let's talk about loyalty. Killer, your manager's not in your corner. You went and cried. Obviously, you're not as dumb as you look because you went and got Jerry Lawler. So great. So I got to put on the tights. Let me tell you something. I wrestled 10 years amateur, and this is my 13th year as a pro, and I'm the weak link on the team. No, sir, brother, because when Bam Bam Bigelow and Pretty Boy Larry Sharp get their stuff in fashion, get on the road.
Man, remember those great promos he cut on Jim Wilson on Morton Downey? You're a bum. You're worthless. You're a loser. You're garbage. You never drew a dime.
And get in gear, Lawler. It is going to be the longest match of your life. When your shoulders are down and Bam Bam is kicking the killer from rope to rope and pillar to post, you'll finally realize why I've been out here ranting and raving about how great this Southern heavyweight champion is.
Yes.
Now, one thing further. You must want me around because you've had me handcuffed. Well, now, you've got to look me dead in the eye, face to face.
Wow.
In every ring in the country, if I can get you there. And just like I have threatened to smack you in the face.
He says we're going to take this feud all over the country.
And slap you down like a dog. That's exactly what we're going to do. And when you're down, Bam Bam's going to kick you. He's going to take those flames and headbutt you and burn you and kill her. You're just a piece of trash because Kenny D don't have the intestinal fortitude to get in your corner. As your manager, like pretty boy Larry Sharp, will stand behind his man any day, any night, any time, any place, anywhere. And what do you think about that, Lance Russell?
I stand here.
Why do we bother to communicate in any other form as opposed to like wrestling promos?
And I find it hard to believe that a man of your supposed intelligence is
Of which guy from which show?
going to say that.
Sorry, I'm still disoriented from being pulled through the dimensional doorway by the trunk of an elephant. But I'm clearing out the cobwebs.
Bam Bam Bigelow teamed up with Larry Sharp, who is a manager. I know your background. Going against the Killer and Jerry the King Lawler. Pretty awesome opponents.
Hey, we're not saying they're weak links. They're tough, but they're just not tough enough. And we're going to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Okay, you hear it from pretty boy Larry Sharp. And heading to the ring right now, Bam Bam Bigelow will be...
Like, imagine just coming into every conversation like hot.
in a handicap match, Dave.
Bam Bam's going to step into the ring against Jerry Garman and Benny Traylor. Both of them standing in the ring right now.
Man, look at that outfit Larry Sharp's got on. 3 stars, Larry Sharp.
And the way the handicap matches work, the way the handicap match works, when Bam Bam Bigelow is involved, is he takes both of them on at once. Garman and Traylor putting him into the rope. Good drop kicks from both of them, but it did not get him off his feet. He drop kicks then. Boy, it's amazing.
Kangaroo kick.
A guy that big can throw a drop kick.
You better believe it. Look at the beast from the east. He's the only true champion this place has ever seen in your life. Somebody show to these so-called men. Now let's face it, they're wrestlers, true. But there are wrestlers and there are he-men that are wrestlers. We're talking about a super...
Do you guys think this would be like a good... You know how action figures have like chase variants that are like alternate attire that are like harder to find? I would be interested in a Memphis era Bam Bam Bigelow, even though it's kind of a generic looking figure.
Done here. We're talking about a champion of champions. Look at the beast from the east. Cartwheel, he can pick up a guy with one hand. Shove his foot so down his throat so far to come out his butt if he wants it to. And look at it.
Bam Bam Bigelow, and he is making short work of Jerry Garman.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, like I think anybody who joins up like on a panel, like on YouTube or wherever, I think if they just are like, if they don't come in like with energy right off the bat, I'd typically like pretty tune out on somebody. But if somebody comes in like Spicoli knows how to come in, he does kind of wrestling promos. He's got his little catchphrases and stuff. They'll bring him up and he'll be like, Grace, Grace, as his opening salvo.
And Benny Traylor, I got to tell you, you got to have a lot of nerve to even climb through the ropes to face this guy, the beast from the east. Bam Bam, look at that. a double bear hug. That's it.
Oh my God.
He had both of them in that bear hug at the same time, and they had to give it up. Incredible display of strength by Bam Bam Bigelow. Larry Sharp, isn't that something? I'm still amazed at that drop kick. He got off that mat. All right, here it is, the bear hug, where he had both of them in his grasp, and they had to give it up.
Oh,
Bam Bam Bigelow gets the win in 1:19 seconds.
Man, oh man, that's hard to believe that a man can be that big and that agile and be able to put it together. No question,
That's what Wings of Redemption says. He thinks he's like super agile.
is a force, without any doubt about it. This guy is.
Oh shit.
We're gonna go right into another bout. That music signifies.
I think Dave Brown should turn to Lance Russell and be like, I like hillbillies. The killer, okay, so the killer is Snowman. I really did, I wouldn't mind watching that Jerry Lawler versus Snowman. Remember that like feud compilation or whatever? That would be pretty fun to watch. I'd watch it again. I thought it was so good. I love Garmin and Trailer. I think they're really good wrestlers, and they never get to do anything. How's it going, Distinction? Oh, God. Imagine your kid wants to go up and hug up on this big, sweaty, nasty Uncle Smelmer. I'd drop my kid off. If my kid got up and wanted to hug on Uncle Smelmer, as soon as the matches were over, I'd drop him right off at the firehouse.
Lawler and the giant hillbilly. And goodness gracious. What a team they have been together. Here come their opponents. Boy, look at the size of.
I think he only drove to one place. Well, I don't know. I guess they did tour, but do you think that's what finally let him retire, though, was starting up the GPS?
Wow. Yeah, Mr.
Oh, this is kind of interesting. I don't know who the fuck the Nighthawk is, but we've seen Mr. Universe a little bit. So JD Costello, unfortunately, I'm not gonna pre-mourn him, but all of his guys have come out now, and he hasn't come out. Do you think it was the promo about the watermelon and fried chicken that finally cooked JD Costello? Was JD Costello a victim of cancel culture in 1986?
We've seen before his partner, the Nighthawk. He is huge, too. He's even taller than Mr. Universe. Mr. Universe and the Nighthawk will be going against the Giant Hillbilly and the King, Jerry Lawler. This match will be to the expiration of time.
Oh, wow.
Team with the most falls to their credit when the time expires will be the winners of this one. And the King stands in there as the smallest man in the ring.
Yeah, here's a guy at 234 who's the smallest man in the ring. That's something else. We're ready to go. Bell time as Mr. Universe starts off against.
Well, I mean, you're completely right. I don't even think anybody would debate you on that, ATF media. It's where pro wrestling came from. You know, it was carnies. It was part of the like traveling carnivals. So 100% for sure, you're right. Instead of just being at the Memphis, at whatever this place is, and then at the Memphis Coliseum and Evansville and wherever else, you just be touring constantly.
Jerry. Universe.
Joe Coltrane.
Big one.
But God, look at Uncle Elmer, man. What a mess. He looks like a giant Cyrax.
You know, the more I look at him, I think it's true. I think this Nighthawk is bigger than Mr. Universe is.
Yeah, he is certainly taller. He doesn't weigh quite as much. Mr. Universe in at 285.
Okay, so Mr. Universe, I was picturing the Patriot guy. Remember him? What was his name? Mr. USA or something like that. Something. This is the guy who looks like the biblical character.
275 for the Nighthawk. Of course, then you got the Giant Hillbilly over there at 420. So the team of Lawler and Hillbilly does outweigh the team of Nighthawk and Universe. Not many times that's going to happen, I can tell you. Well,
I highly doubt it was actually that promo that got him fired. But was that the last thing we've seen of him? I'm trying to remember. Because, man, he had that really weird promo that was there was something off about it. And then he cut that just off the charts Heat promo. And then I don't remember if that's the last thing that he did or not.
A little fella at 234.
No, it wasn't Mr. America. It was a guy here in Memphis. He had he wore a Bob Armstrong style singlet where it's like the mankini. And it was like all patriotic and he was masked, but I can't remember what his name was. Mr. Freedom? Mr. Liberty. Mr. Liberty. It was Mr. Liberty.
Starting out against Mr. Universe. The King.
Thank you, Elephant Trunk.
Ties it up with him. One of the smartest wrestlers we've ever seen crawl through the ropes, Lawler. Whipped across the ring and immediately bounces right out as Universe chased him in to try to mass him with that 285.
you know, this is the kind of challenge that brings out the best in Lawler, too. When he steps in here against formidable opponents, it seems to bring him up a notch or two. And he's facing some big ones right now in Mr. Universe.
Dave Brown putting in the work. I like it.
Going against him at the moment. Back in the corner. Ooh.
I like how even though we know this is essentially just going to be a glorified squash unless there's a storyline that plays into it, like Dave Brown really building him up, you know, like, hey, listen, folks, I know you're counting Jerry Lawler out on this one, but, you know, the King's toppled larger foes in the past. Perhaps he can do it again tonight.
Universe across the ring going after Lawler, but Lawler slipped away easily from the Nighthawk, and the Nighthawk was able to step back, and most of the power from Universe went into the ropes in there. But that's what we're talking about, smart. Can't match them at their own game many times. You got to use their strength against them. Lawler caught in the side headlock, waist locks the Universe, backhand tags the Giant Hillbilly, who will give you no indication of any kind of wrestling ability, but boy, he can lay the Mississippi Splash on you. And Universe taking a
so his finisher is the Mississippi Splash. I thought, is that the leg drop?
couple of shots, nails the Giant Hillbilly. There's no way looking at this on television that you can appreciate the size of these guys that are in that ring.
You know, that's exactly right. All of them are just huge.
Looking at the monitor, it just dawned on me. They don't look that big.
No, they don't. But, wow.
Yeah.
Mr. Universe has Lawler back into a corner. Well, I should rephrase that. Lawler is in the corner, and Mr. Universe is waiting for him out in the center of the ring.
Now he wants to do a little...
I think he should take the overalls off and get that would give him a real psychological advantage over his opponents, because who's going to want to grapple onto him if he doesn't even have on his bibs?
Test of strength with the King.
Nice.
Universe taking time to insult the crowd. There's a mistake right there, let me tell you. You got to concentrate on your opponent. I don't care if you do weigh 285 pounds. Test of strength. Universe has to feel confident that he's going to win this one.
What a fool.
Lawler down on one knee.
Gross. Where's Laughing Cedar? These are the kind of moments she lives for.
Universe, concentration on the fans. Now back to Lawler. Lawler popped him with a right hand and takes the warning from the referee for it. But he unloaded on him with that right fist. Universe over to the corner, makes the tag, and here comes the Nighthawk. His first official appearance in this match. This guy is, I don't know how tall he is. He's up there 6'7", 6'9", somewhere in that range, I would say. He is.
Where's Whipper Billy Watson? He may not be in this territory at the time.
Incredibly tall. He picks Lawler up in the bear hug.
He's using what he has, and that is his.
Now, like, I'm not a fan of the bear hug, but, like, I do feel like this is more, like, believable than the way Hogan does it, where he's just standing up against each other. You know what I mean? Like, at least this guy conceivably has the strength to hold this guy up in the air, which makes it a little bit more believable.
Strength. Boy, he is mammoth. Powerful body armor. Lawler caught in that bear hug.
Yeah, the crowd is just fucking nuts.
Upbeat on the ears.
Here comes the hillbilly, the giant hillbilly stepping through the ropes. Nighthawk. Nighthawk didn't back up from him, I'll tell you. He went right after him. They're both, they're close to the same height.
You know, I was just looking at that. This son of a gun's almost as tall as the giant hillbilly.
The hillbilly flipped him down to the mat.
He's using his strength, too. A very large abdomen. Lawler back in there. Wow, faces off with the Nighthawk. To the corner, there's a tag on Mr. Universe. Universe. That's the...
Dave's channel, you said this guy didn't really do much after this? That's kind of... I mean, he's a huge dude. Was he just like the shits in the ring or what?
Frying pan to the frying pan to the fire is what I meant to say.
Yeah, they doubled up on Lawler back in the corner, wouldn't let him get an advantage, and kept him tied up until Universe could get through there. That was a powerful right fist from Universe. And another. He has hit the King twice hard, right in the mouth.
Ooh. Referee trying to get him to stop using the fist, but he shows no indication of it.
He does it again. Lawler really being pounded here by Mr. Universe. The 285-pounder pops the King again.
That's an interesting sentence. Jerry Lawler really getting pounded here by Mr. Universe.
And the King getting steamed. I think you could see it in his eyes here. The strap comes down and look out. Lawler unwinding that right fist. Haymaker swing again and again. He goes after the Nighthawk in the corner while he's at it. Up on the rope. Here comes Lawler. Universe moves. Lawler hits the mat. Universe makes the tag. It's an illegal tag.
It's nerdy, but it's I think it's super interesting to pay attention to moments when you think like, oh, because they want to end the match like when the crowd is at its hottest. So they probably know what the finish is, but like they don't have like a, you know, they know they want to go out on the high note. And I always like wonder sometimes whenever there's like a cutoff like that, if that was like will turn out to be a mistake or not, like in the flow of the match.
The referee going to let it stand. Nighthawk with a cover on Lawler. Counts at 1, 2. Lawler outsmarts him. Lawler tapped him on the back. The Nighthawk thought he had a 3 count. Lawler rolls him down. There's a count of 2 and 3. And Lawler is the one who gets the win. And Nighthawk is steamed.
The rats are coming unglued.
Lawler used a tactic that was taught to him, I'm sure, by one of his...
Like there, I wondered, I thought like, okay, they cut off Lawler there, but it felt like it was a really good moment for a comeback. And I was like, can we sustain another giant hillbilly appearance in this match? And then it turned out we didn't need it. They didn't try to build to another like crescendo. They just did like a quick turnaround after that cutoff. So it worked out pretty well, I think.
Opponents of many, many years ago.
Old Jackie Fargo.
Fargo used that.
Right.
Boy, Lawler used it right there and saved a victory for himself and the giant hillbilly.
Man, look at those specimens up there. They just lost, but that doesn't stop them from showing off their size, and that is some incredible...
That was his old tag team partner.
Power right there.
And it's only the first fall.
Yes. We'll check and see if we have time for any more action. Right now, we're going to take time out, and we'll be back in just a moment. Good one. You better believe we just had ourselves one fall, and Dave, I don't think we're going to have really time. We got maybe...
Well, wait. Help me understand what happened there. He was tapping him. Oh, he was... Okay, I get it now. He was fake tapping the guy on the back to be like, okay, hey, buddy, we like the referee saying, like, you won. So he got up early. I thought he was, like, fake tapping out, but I forgot. I don't think they were tapping out at this point. So that's good psychology.
Maybe 60 seconds, and that's not time enough to get all six of them back in there and get Scrambler, or all four. Looking at the size of them, I felt like it was six guys in there.
Well, I tell you, yeah, we had a total weight in there of something like 1,200 pounds on both sides of the ring there. What a match we had, and what a move by Lawler.
Plenty more action coming up after this. Welcome back, folks. Well, that's it for this week. Dave Brown, tell us about what we saw today.
He put on him to save it for him and for himself and the giant hillbilly. Tapped the Nighthawk on the back. Nighthawk thought that's the 3 count, and that's the referee saying, okay,
and
you
he
won
was
the
really
match.
happy. He was trying to tell the universe, I got him, I got him.
We won, but...
I'm glad Dave Brown was on point for this episode, because I do feel like he needed to provide that explanation.
It wasn't to be. That was only a 2 count when he broke out of that cover. So Lawler and the Hillbilly win the main event. Earlier today, it was Tracy Smothers, Paul Diamond, and J.T. Southern going against the Memphis Vice, Big Lou and Jerry Bryant, and Sexy Ron Sexton. This one ended up in a double count out. So it was a draw, no contest, whatever you want to call it. Double count out on the match. Tracy Smothers and Sexton really going at each other on the floor. Sexton had a few things to say about the championship, the way that Smothers won it, and that he couldn't defend it against him and all that. And I think Tracy was out to prove something. Ended up, they both got counted out on the floor. Fire and Flame defending the Southern Tag titles. It looked for a moment as though they had lost them to the Mod Squad, but on a disqualification, Fire and Flame do keep those belts. Jarrett and Tanaka winning over the Renegades. Sato and Goto with Tojo defeating the team of Jim Jameson and Mad Dog. It was Bam Bam Bigelow winning the handicap match over Garmin and Trailer. And then that big main event just completed here a moment ago.
Yeah, that Bam Bam match, the son of a gun comes up with the double
submission.
I mean, he got both of them in there, and Gratz, just hard to believe that a man is that big and can be able to do what he does. By golly, this has been a dance. It's going to be tough to top next week.
Yeah, but we'll try.
That's the fun of it, is trying next week. For Dave Brown, Lance Russell saying bye-bye, everybody.
What am I thankful for? Woo! I'm thankful for my polka dot. Unfortunately, I do think J.D. Costello, he could be done. I would say if he doesn't appear here, he's probably gone. It's typically whenever somebody misses even a couple shows, unless it's part of the storyline, they're usually gone. I love that about Memphis, because it means that there's always going to be somebody new to see, or there's always going to be somebody that maybe was starting to get stale, like, you know, that'll go away for a while. But then when it's somebody who's like in a really hot, you know, storyline or whatever, and they just kind of vanish, like J.D. Costello was really, you know, really finding his groove. Dude, of course he put Dusty in the polka dots to embarrass him. It's not to me it's not even a question. It's like Bruce Pritchard trying to sweep and say that like Vince didn't mean any harm with the Red Rooster gimmick. Like, come on, man. He's like, "Oh no, Vince just thought he was the cock of the walk, he was the rooster, the Red Rooster." Yeah. Like, come on, no way. Like it was completely to embarrass Dusty. And it's like I'm sure it burned Vince that he got it over and that he embraced it. And then that gives people like Pritchard the chance to say, well, look what happens when Dusty embraced it, and look at it got him even more over. And it's like, come on, dude. No, absolutely not. He did have that one kind of off promo, but looking back, maybe that was the promo where he found out like that his time was in the territory was coming to an end. But yeah, I mean, I thought he was like, he's going out on a high note if he's done here, which I guess is historically is better to do, but like as a fan, I wouldn't have minded. I could have dealt with some mid JD Costello just to get me through for a while. Just for a fix.
Today. Hello again, everyone.
Oh, Dave's happy. This should be a good episode.
Hey, Lance Russell and Dave Brown, and we're right along ringside, and I mean close and ready to get for the action today, David.
Oh, opening match today. We've got JT Southern coming in here in a single match. A little bit later on, we will have Fire and Flame defending their Southern Tag titles again today. And we will have a new team called the Miami New Breed.
Oh, they are big.
They are huge.
Ooh, Miami New Breed. That's an interesting name.
They'll be here. We will also have teaming the King, Jerry Lawler, and the Killer for the first time on Championship Wrestling.
Wow. Kenny D will be with him, and that should make exciting action. That and lots more coming up. We'll take time out right now because we got too much to get in to sit here and talk. Be back.
Look how excited Dave is to see Jerry Lawler team up with the Killer.
In a moment.
Here's another one of these generic masked jobbers in Memphis, the Red Demon.
JT, a very popular young man.
What do you mean Hannibal's interviewing skills are non-existent? What do you mean by that, HF Media? I'm going to come over there. I'm going to hunt your blood. It's going to be a blood hunt.
He's going to be involved in the opening bout today, and he's a guy that's made quite an impact, not only on the opponents that he's been against, but also on the wrestling fans that have come about. David, we're ready for the opening match.
We've got a one-fall, 10-minute time limit match scheduled here. Introducing first from parts unknown at 221 pounds, the Red Demon. And going against him from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 238 pounds, JT Southern. He's jumped from behind by the Red Demon even before the bell sounds. The Demon jumping JT.
Before JT Southern hits his power slam and wins this match, I was watching, there's a lot of weird Boyd shit in ASMR, and I found this woman who, I guess her deal is she just kind of like sits around, kind of like how Foot Girl does, but this girl does it in like nylons, and like she takes her fingers and like scratches the nylon, and that's like the entire channel. So I was trying to see if there's anything clippable in there, and I found two really good clips, and I've been holding on to them for a little while, but one of them is her cat gets up and starts playing the piano like during her nylon stream. And the other video was like from a few minutes later, and she gets up and goes into the other room and takes like the loudest piss you've ever heard. It's like one of those, it was like a meme piss, like somebody was like frying pork chops or something in the other room. And I do you think that's Boyd watch worthy? Like a nylon ASMR model. Her cat plays the piano, and then she takes like the loudest piss in YouTube history.
Southern, referee Jerry Calhoun there, off the ropes, into the ropes across the way. JT Southern with a clothesline puts the Red Demon on the mat, picks him up, back down. Yes, he did. On a 2 and 3, got him.
That takes care of the first match.
Boy, I tell you, JT Southern, we've seen him here in several matches in which he just takes control and defeats his opponent quickly. Take a look at what happened here coming off the ropes. He fires the Red Demon across the way into the ropes, and as he bounces off of there, there's that clothesline. He took him down to the mat, then he picked him up.
I mean, he owes the jobber a lot on that. The bump makes it look good, but man, what a terrible clothesline. He was doing okay with the slam, I felt like. He was kind of being able to at least hit it consistently.
Dropped him down over his back and held him there for the count of 3. That was it. The total time on this match, and you're seeing most of it here, 21.
It's not the whole stream. I think she's just, I don't know whether she kept her mic on. Because again, I don't know how some of these rooms operate, whether that's part of it, that she accidentally leaves her mic on and takes like a super loud piss. But that was just one part of the stream. And after I got those 2 clips, I felt like I had kind of seen enough of this particular channel. So I harvested and exited, but...
Seconds of action, the win for J.T. Southern.
Boy, when he nailed him with that clothesline, he had his head rattling, too, because he caught him up high right on the head. And since we only had 21 seconds, why don't we just go right into the next match?
Right.
And we've got tag team stepping in there. This will be a team that we have not...
Okay, this is like a feast for these random jobbers under the mask. So now we got Lawler and the Killer against the Scorpions.
Seen together before, the Scorpion. Speaking of teams, we had seen the Red Demon, the tag team together, but that's the first time we'd seen them as a single. Look at here! The King and the Killer and Kenny D. Don't think that I'm going to like to be in the shoes of the Scorpions today. Going against a formidable tag team. Kenny D, that's it. Louisiana man. He'll give you a little of that Cajun talk and all of it. David, here we go.
All right, this one's going to be one fall. 10-minute time limit from parts unknown at 459 pounds total weight. These Scorpions, and going against them at a total of 509 pounds from Louisiana, the Killer. And
all right, I'm fully back through the portal thanks to the elephant trunk, and now I'm switching to Bruce Banner so that I can fully go back into like human mode.
From Memphis, Tennessee, the King, Jerry Lawler, in their corner. Manager Kenny D, and he says the D stands for don't worry about it. Right?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, boy. We'll find out just how much the Killer and the King have to worry about. Jerry starting off first. And a little last-second conference in there. The larger of the 2 Scorpions, number 1, will be starting off.
I thought he was going to say the larger man in the tag team is the Killer, and in the ring is Jerry Lawler.
Against the King. Boy, look at the size of that Killer over there, Dave. He has got some muscles on muscles, doesn't he?
Well, he does indeed. He weighs in a lot more than Lawler does. Although at first he doesn't appear to be that much bigger. Look at Lawler.
I don't know. I don't care for him like clapping on the sidelines and shit. I feel like that's kind of weird for his character. There has to be a heel turn. There's no way that this guy on the outside of the ring is a fucking babyface manager. No way.
He jarred his jaw. You can write that one down. Boy, I mean, he caught him right on the button. That was an interesting adjustment. Jerry was up. The Scorpions started to move back out of the way, and Lawler caught him with 1 foot and really nailed him in the jaw. He's taking it back, and the King rattling his own right hand.
The real killer is Matthew Broderick, who murdered a woman while he was drunk driving.
And there's a tag on Scorpion number 2. I hope everything came out all right over there. Had a death scream going in, and maybe that was a Scorpion fan who was saying, "Oh no."
Lawler had a little conference with the Killer. The Killer over there watching the moves of the Scorpions, and I don't know exactly what they said to each other, but let's see if it does any good here. Lawler hit with a fist about 3 times when they had him back in the corner. He'll try to stay out of that corner from now on, I'm sure.
Double top wrist.
Was Lawler's shitty body part of his appeal? I don't think it was part of his appeal in a major way, but I do think it's definitely easier if you're in the crowd to identify with Jerry Lawler as opposed to, you know, the Killer or Joe LeDuc, or, you know, he is kind of an everyman. So yeah, I mean, in some sense it was part of his appeal.
Lock, and it was finished off by some hair pulling by the Scorpion. And talking about the size, Lawler at about 234, and the Killer's weight is 275. Large gentleman. Scorpion with an arm bar.
And also, like, he was really funny in WWF and everything, and, you know, he was really good on the mic and everything, but this is, like, this Memphis shit is just transcendent. Like, his promos are on a completely different level. I probably, like, I mean, I knew he was, like, you know, an A+ in pretty much every category as a wrestler, but, like, I think I have so much more appreciation for him just watching this consistent year of 1986 of seeing like his week-to-week promos and feuds and stuff like that. But like the promo work here is just, it's I mean, it's like WWF was okay, but this is like 1,000 times better than his work in WWF.
And another drop kick from Jerry.
Ben and Grace's hunchbacks make them relatable.
There's a tag on the big guy.
Interesting way to make a tag, too. Put him in a side headlock and take him to the corner with you while you make that tag.
Big power slam and a Killer.
Well, distinction from your perspective, when it comes to like their online collabs, do you feel like Ben is one of those like deep ocean fish that like you can't even see him? You just see this dangling, glowing thing, which would be like Grace, and then whenever like a fish will come up to like approach, to be like lured in to approach Grace, then Ben like chomps down and cucks the Zoomers.
Takes him up in the air, fires him into the rope, and he presses him high in the air and dumps him off. Killer tags Lawler. Lawler hollered at him, press slammed him, Killer.
Press slam him. Boy, Kenny D was dancing around ringside after that happened. He was thrilled with that particular move himself.
Referee tells Lawler to keep the fist open, but that's not easy for Jerry, particularly when they started out slugging very early. Ooh. And Lawler rattled back in the corner again.
That was a theory that multiple people had on the Discord, was that these meetups, that the reason these particular people were chosen or were like allowed to meet up were because they thought that Ben had like a fetish for cucking Zoomers. I can't remember who said it though.
By the Scorpion number 1. A block, a short right hand, picks the Scorpion up, tags on the Killer, whip across the ring. Oh, look at Kenny D. He loves it. Lawler to the rope. Drives down with a big right hand.
Oh, my God.
And that's going to be all. 1, 2, 3.
Wow, 3 minutes, 26 seconds. I tell you what, the King and the Killer make quite a tag team.
Oh, they really do, in fact. King and the Killer come out in 3:22 with a victory over the Scorpions, and it really was fairly one-sided in there.
Yeah, it was. It was the Scorpions. Look at it. The Scorpions had their moment, but mostly that's when they...
Yeah, I heard that the Scorpions had actually just won a very prestigious tag team tournament down in Rio de Janeiro just a little bit before this. So actually, it was kind of an upset, even for a team like Jerry Lawler and the Killer, because they had beaten any number of international top names at that tournament in Rio de Janeiro.
They were hitting Lawler with a fist, and that was about it.
And that was a mistake right off the bat because the King swings a pretty bad one himself. I don't know how many of you folks out there, if you're longtime wrestling fans and keep up with international wrestling, there's no question that you are.
So, Distinction, are you still working on your video, or is that kind of like have you reached like a point where you're just kind of giving up on it, or are we going to still see the video?
Are familiar with the great Kabuki. This Kabuki is the guy that put Austin Idol out of action, and internationally you could list the names that he has put out of action. We've got a little video clip on him. Here is the great Kabuki.
I'm sorry, Distinction. I was thinking about Showtime. Wouldn't it be cool if like I kind of want to make 1980s little short promo edits like this, but of the Boyd characters. Like how would Ruby Spacek be introduced in a 1980s Memphis way? Like that's fascinating to me. How could we get Ruby over before we brought her onto TV? There it is. Just straight up got him in a Darth Vader mask. Amazing. This is so cool. He looks exactly like the guy from that original 8-bit Nintendo game, Kabuki. What was it? Kabuki Quantum Fighter, I think. Come on, ATF Media. You didn't like that where he spit out the next graphic? Come on.
Wednesday night.
I really like the corny like cheesy B movie type intros.
At Evansville Coliseum, son of a gun, a full card with 5 outstanding matches, including a Mid-America title match, international title match, Southern tag title match, and a Southern heavyweight championship bout. One of the matches will be an international tag title match with 2 referees when Jeff Jarrett and Pat Tanaka get another crack at Sato and Goto, but this time 2 referees, Tojo. Maybe cut some of that out.
Oh man, look at this outfit.
Outside interference.
Oh, Japanese, very, very, very intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
You congratulate this team honorable inferior.
Congratulations on getting the titles back, really.
Mr. Lance Russell, I want to tell you something. I'm very, very happy. My boys are very, very happy. You understand?
Yeah.
I told you that Japanese imperial wrestlers are the greatest wrestlers, and we showed you. Okay?
Yeah.
And now I tell you what. Now Jeff Jarrett and Pat Tanaka. Now they're so afraid they have to go get 2 referees. Now maybe the 2 referees can catch some of Pat Tanaka and Jeff Jarrett sneaky thing. You know what I mean?
Somebody
Maybe
else.
we can do
Maybe they'll
justice
catch
now.
somebody else in there.
You understand?
Titles are going to, yeah, I understand. I hope you guys understand the 2 referees. Tell you about, I can't wait to see. Talking about Southern Heavyweight, you've been accusing Jerry Lawler of avoiding Bam Bam Bigelow. How about a Texas death match with this Southern title at stake? Falls don't count. You go to somebody can.
Lawler, is this the first time you've proved that you're as dumb as you look? Or did you prove it in school? Or are you going to do it in Evansville? Because you can't hide behind the killer anymore. You can throw your best punch. Falls don't count. You can do whatever you want. But you know what? Try it on a truck, because Bam Bam is ready in Evansville. You know what might happen? We might make history there. Are there stretchers there? Is there a hospital there? Do you have someone to look after you there? Does your insurance cover you there? Because that is where you will need all of the above.
Wow. Woo.
Hey, I certainly hope so.
Just want to make sure Fine
Oh boy, here we go.
To make sure they're here.
Oh boy, here's old Eddie. I'm still hot at Eddie Marlin after that last episode.
Well, they've got a match.
To get them to come on.
Okay, Fire and Flame. Yeah, here they come out with the belts. Eddie Marlin out here as we do have a Southern Tag title match coming up. And Fire and Flame have the belts, and they're still here, Eddie.
So that means we have a title match on TV this morning.
Okay.
Eddie Marlin, I've got my attorneys working on this little stipulation that you come up with, brother, and I guarantee it's going to be resolved very, very soon.
Well, it hadn't been resolved this morning, so get in the ring.
We'll take care of that.
There they go, Fire and Flame, and they will have to defend the belts in there against a mystery team, which is not known to them at this present time.
Okay, mystery team. Last time it was the Mod Squad. We haven't, well, I feel like the Beach Twins aren't around anymore. I can't remember any other, maybe Garmin and Trailer. Can you imagine the fans if it was Garmin and Trailer? You know what? I bet they would go with it. I bet they would just cheer them since they're the good guys.
Let's go to the ring.
Let's make a pact with ourselves, okay? We are, we're awake, we're aware. We're gonna get a mystery team, and no matter who the mystery team is, we're gonna be happy with it. We're gonna be one with the booking of Jerry Jarrett.
We're ready to see the action of a Southern Tag Team Championship.
Well, I'm really being tested now.
Oh, listen to the music.
Oh shit.
Don't go messing with a country boy, a country boy, a country boy. Don't go messing with a country boy, don't mess with a country boy. The mystery team. When I was a little bitty boy, baby, I cut my...
Did the Beach Twins have any other gimmicks? I don't even remember who they were. Were they around for like maybe like 2 tapings maybe of like, 6 to 8 episodes maybe?
Cut Junior and the Giant Hillbilly. That's Junior in there. Good stone.
Oh, I really cursed this.
Fire and Flame just kind of stand over there and look at them. They know one thing. This is one of the few times they're going to be outweighed.
That's very true. And they are outweighed by a little over 100 pounds.
Oh, again.
It's...
Dave Brown again. I think he's just like, you know what? Every team is 100 pounds heavier than the other team.
The name of the mystery team is the Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Junior, and they weigh in at 707.
Yeah, these were the original like Evansville, recorded from the Evansville broadcast, but I don't think they gave a shit about copyright back then. I don't think I've ever had one of these claimed over that song, but it always gets claimed over Jump. And there's one other one, the Beach Twins. I never got a claim because of the Beach Twins music, which was surprising. That video of Ben Thorpe singing Hallelujah has like 8 to 10 copyright claims on it.
The team of Fire and Flame weighing in at about 6:03. Fire and Flame out of parts unknown. That's Cousin Junior in here. Oh, he picks him up in the air and slams him. Let me tell you.
Hillbilly Jim I didn't really care for him as a performer, but he was in amazing shape. I don't know why they gave him, well, I guess because he looks like a hillbilly, or he is a hillbilly, but he did a lot of the behind the scenes work at Coliseum Video too. Like, not just like, I'm not saying he was just like a star in them, like he was involved in the process of creating a lot of the like compilation videos and shit back then.
That's not easy to do to a man that weighs over 300 pounds. I don't care how big you are.
That's a big package to be throwing around the way Junior did it. He's a good-sized gentleman himself.
Cousin Junior, out of Pigeon Forge, Kentucky.
Pigeon Forge.
Horn Lake, Mississippi, the hometown of his partner, the giant hillbilly. Look out, Cousin Junior into the ropes. He just kind of steps over.
Kind of slipped that mule kick to him.
Yeah. Fire and Flame, conference time in their corner. They have just made a change without benefit of a tag.
Isn't it kind of cool, though, that, like, I'm just saying in theory, this could be the only time we see this tag team in Memphis, or we see this guy. Like, I think it's neat how people could just show up for, like, a single match or, like, a single storyline and then go. Like, I just feel like it keeps everything moving. Everything's fresh. It's not the same, 18 guys doing all the storylines.
Giant hillbilly watching in the corner picked up on it too. Yeah, they just made a switch. No tag. Hard to tell. I mean,
So Showtime's video is being worked on, but it's simmering.
These big guys about the same size. Wrestling attire exactly the same. Well, the referee couldn't make a definitive ruling on it, so there's a backdrop by Cousin Junior. Fire and Flame now back outside for another conference.
Yeah, I don't care. You can use anything. I mean, I can't really complain about it. I mean, like, everything I do except for the movie reviews is like commentary content, and that's kind of commentary content.
Let's see who's going back in this time.
Fire a little irritated by that. He hops back up in the ring as he is now ready to face Junior again. He got backdropped out of that corner. Headbutt, and down goes Cousin Junior. Tag on Flame. Shot to the midsection. Knee lift.
I think, honestly, some guys, especially if they were people like Uncle Elmer, who, again, I don't know. I'm just assuming that, like, this guy probably didn't have a lot of, like, really long runs in the same territory. He feels like he's more of, like, an attraction that would, like, travel from territory to territory for a while. I think maybe some of those guys were stuck in that mindset, and that's why they could never connect with Vince, who had, like, a different, where you were going to be long-term booked. I think that's why Bruiser Brody wasn't a factor there, why Abdullah the Butcher never went there. I think it's why Terry Funk was more limited in his time there. I just feel like there are some guys who were like big traveling territory draws who could never settle into like that new era of wrestling where it was like a set roster, and if somebody was added, it was like a huge deal. Like, it didn't happen very often.
Big one, too, by Flame. Look out. Cousin Junior thrown out of the ring down onto the floor. Fire right there with a folding metal chair. Hammers him in the head. Cousin Junior rolled back under the ropes into the ring.
Southern Tag Team belts at stake. We do have the special time stipulation of one fall, 30 minutes. But the belts are at stake, and Flame pops him into the elbow of fire. Blocks him off going to the corner. There's a tag on the Giant Hillbilly. Looked like it to me.
Yeah, he got the tag anyway, just barely, but he got it. Giant Hillbilly, the official man in the ring now.
Oh, reversed it on him. Threw him into Flame. Has that big leg drop. Here it comes. Two. He got it! New.
So just straight up, they're the new tag champs, or is this going to get overturned at some point? Vince also didn't like fat guys. Oh, absolutely, yeah. But I mean, I think there are people who, if they would have been willing to do business, Vince could have used them. But also, like, he wasn't going to want to bring in Bruiser Brody if Bruiser Brody was just going to want to come in and shit on everybody, beat everybody, and then leave like he did in a lot of the other territories. Like, a similar vein, but he actually worked there for a while, was David Schultz. Like, I think he was in a similar situation where there were just some of those outlaw guys that just were not gonna, that weren't gonna put up with be having a lot of constraints on them.
Southern Tag Team Champion, the Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Jr. takes the belt off of Fire and Flame. Whoa! You just absolutely are ready for it.
Oh, there you go. I forgot about the chair shot. Good eye.
Phillies won the belt. You better believe it. You just are ready.
I mean, like, not to cornet on this thing, but like, I forget that like stuff did have consequences at one time like that. Even if it was selectively enforced, at least like there was kind of it made sense.
And you talk about a couple of happy gentlemen. Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Junior told you as long as they had the belt in here. Gentlemen, you lost the belt this morning.
Oh man, if they overturn this, the crowd is gonna just go bananas, man. They're bringing out all the baby Lawlers out there. Oh shit.
You can hit the road. Wait a minute, Martin, hold it. Brother, there is no championship match ever
Here we
going
go.
down in the history of wrestling that there hasn't been a rematch down in the contract. You have to give us a rematch, and you know it. At least one rematch, Eddie, brother. Any champion, brother, has at his contract. Any champion. Let me tell you something. I've got the belts off of you now, and I'll give you one rematch if you put the mask up, because I want you to pull them off. One rematch.
Mask versus belt.
That's all you get if you put the mask up. Well, it's pretty clear. You guys holler.
Do you think there was a lot of demand for Dirty Rhodes at like did he ever do any work in WWF? Or maybe WWF?
For a rematch, just put the... You know that's not right, Lance Russell. Hey, this is the man right here. That's the way it's going right there, baby.
I'll tell you what, Eddie Martin.
Put up the mask.
We'll do that.
All right.
Just have us a rematch. We don't care anytime, any place, anywhere.
Mask is at stake.
Okay.
The former Southern Tag Team Champions in a...
I'll tell you what, brother. You talking about questionable morals. You and Eddie Martin, brother, are the lowest thing on this earth. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, well, you're the one who was going to take care of...
Interesting then, the chair shot didn't factor in. I thought for sure they were going to fuck him, and oh my god, it would have been so good. The crowd would have absolutely lost it.
You didn't care how big they were or anything else. Fire and Flame, the ex-Southern Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the Killer like clapping with the crowd while he was on the apron, I was like, the mystique is gone now. Like that silent, like assassin type vibe was completely gone.
Champions, and they're the new champions over there. And you talk about a couple of happy gentlemen, the Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Junior. All right, big man.
Hug your neck.
Great.
First time I've ever had one of these here. Boy, my dadgum Christmas is going to be proud back home. Oh, my God, look at you.
My favorite manager, like if you're saying like my personal favorite, would probably be Sonny or Slick. But like I think the best manager of all time would be like, it would be one of Cornette, Heyman, and Heenan. One of those three.
Yeah! Boy, I tell you, you know they always say you play with fire, you get burned. That's exactly what happened.
They got burned in there. Okay, there they go, the new Southern Tag Champs. We've had a lot of guys that have won titles around, but I've never seen two happier ones than that. Let's take time out. We'll be back in just a moment.
What a disgrace seeing the title belts on these two hayseeds.
First, Friday, October the 3rd gives you plenty of...
That's the last time I tried to be positive on stream. It led right to a scuffling hillbillies tag team title run.
Notice to get yourself ready for it. That's Clarksville, Tennessee at Northwest High School, sponsored by the Hilldale Civitan Club. And Thursday, October the 16th, Caruthersville, Indiana. Now, how about Evansville? I'm talking about Wednesday night at the Coliseum, opening up with the Basher going against Paul Diamond. And then a series of outstanding championship matches. Mid-America title is on the line as Tracy Smothers will be...
Hey, folks, in Evansville this weekend, we've got former drug addict Paul Diamond in action. And then we've got tremendous matches.
Defending against Spike in that single match with J.D. Costello at the ringside. International tag title bout with two referees when Sato and Goto will put the titles on the line against Jeff.
I think they've kind of settled in on Giant Hillbilly.
Jarrett and Pat Tanaka. Southern title match. Defense by the Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Jr. against the former champs Fire and...
Cousin Jr. was in WWF, right? I think for at least a brief window of time, I thought Elmer was managing that Junior, and what was his name though? Luke, or he had some other name maybe, but he was teaming with Hillbilly, I want to say. I think.
Flame will be putting their mask at stake, and then a Texas death match. Southern heavyweight belt at stake when Jerry Lawler and Bam Bam Bigelow.
You saw J.D. Costello at ringside. You don't play with my emotions like that.
Square off Wednesday.
Especially when I was over I had gone through the dimensional portal, and then I got pulled back through by the elephant trunk, and then I like Bruce Bannered, and now I'm finally getting settled in. All for the debut of the Miami New Breed. Perfect. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Yes. Finally, we're getting a Miami Vice themed tropical Miami tag team that's actually going to deliver.
The Miami New Breed making their first appearance on Championship Wrestling today.
You're right there, big one.
Oh, he's saying J.D. Costello's going to be at that arena show. Okay.
Step up there, ready for this one fall, 10-minute time limit match. Their opponents, Jerry Garman, Benny Traylor, both out of Mississippi, total weight of 423. Miami New Breed out of Miami at a total weight of 575 pounds. The Miami New Breed, Power and Fear, I understand the names they go by.
Power and Fear. Who the fuck is doing this? Why do they bring these tag teams in and then give them these shitty names? Spike and Basher, Fear and Hate. What's the name of this? They're Miami New Breed. He should be like, something. What's a good Miami kind of name? Like a Razor Ramon-esque type names. The one guy kind of looks like a Garvin. This guy here. But man, Fear and whatever, those are Power and Fear. Those are terrible names.
That's Power with his back kind of to you. He is peeling off the attire of Fear, who is now...
Seething and Razor Blade? What about Cocaine Carl and... Speedboat Sam? Those are awful, but I think they're still better than Power and Fear.
Facing.
And if you notice, they never know who's who with these kind of teams. It seems like they're just like, well, I think that's so and so in the ring.
To the camera. Our first look at this team, physically, they're specimens. We were...
Yeah, like Neon Nick or like Nick Neon or something like that. Just something. It just seems like there's a bunch of better names than just whatever these random things are.
Getting particulars on them a little bit earlier, and boy, I got to tell you, they really are a whole lot bigger than they look there. They just, for some reason, when you get up in the ring away from it and the perspective of looking at it, you just can't appreciate how big these son of a guns are. Take a look at this guy. This is Power, unfeeling.
Yeah, he's the bigger of the two, but they're both
unfeeling. I don't like that. That doesn't make sense to me. If you're in a Miami gimmick, a tropical gimmick, you need to be chill. You need to be like at least Memphis Vice, like they were kind of goofy and it's not about being unfeeling. I don't think that's the approach.
both big. All right. We ran. Here we go. It's Jerry Garman starting and Power starting for the Miami New Breed.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Oh, Jerry Garman just thrown back across the ring.
Garman went with a top wrist lock to start with, and I'm not certain with a guy that's that much bigger than you are that
here we go.
Straight up in the air. He just picks Garman up and dumps him off on the side.
Oh, God.
No problem.
The bumps here are just like, they just hit different because it looks like a car crash. It doesn't look like a perfect flat back bump every time.
Dusts him off.
Power with a threatening move over toward Benny Traylor in the corner, just to let him know he's there, I guess.
Crotches him, scoops him up in the air, and tags his partner Fear coming in, making his first official appearance. Little hip toss.
Garman tried a right hand to the midsection. It really didn't phase Fear that much. Back on the ropes.
You know what they should do? They should just shit can JT Southern as a wrestler. He's a lost fucking cause. There's no way. I don't buy that all of a sudden he's going to turn into a great wrestler. But he's a good talker and the crowd loves him and he's kind of charismatic on the mic even though he's, he could grow into it. Why not shit can his career as a wrestler and put him in here with Nightclub Nick and Johnny Jet Set? And that way they don't have to say shit and they can just have them fucking be dickheads in the background and fluff their hair and straighten their sunglasses. You know what I mean? I think that could work better than whatever this. There's like, yeah, we're gonna get these strong silent types, and then we're gonna give them a cool, Miami Vice gimmick. I don't understand it.
Ooh. Garman snapped into the ropes and wow. Talk about brick wall. That's about what it was.
He stung him, throwing him across that ring into the ropes. He really whipped hard across there, and now using the knee of Power, slams his head into it a couple of times, makes the tag, and the bigger of the two Miami New Breed hit the ring. And there he goes. Another big upper arm. Popped in.
Garman through the legs of Power over to the corner, gets the tag on Benny Traylor. Benny came in with a drop kick. Had no effect. Shoulder butt off the rope. Had no effect. Power just stood there. Now he picks him up. And Benny Traylor goes into the rope.
It looks like a giant just like toying with someone. He just barely lifted his knee up and hit him in like the top of his chest.
Got hit by a knee as he came off of there. Power with the tag on Fear. They double him into the rope and catch him with the upper arms as he comes off. Garman and Traylor have not had a very good day. Oh, boy.
After they do like the squash, they could get JT Southern on the mic, and he could tell them like they got to cut the interview short because they've got the rats waiting in the limo.
He drove him down there and put his own weight right on top of him.
He didn't go for the 3 count. I think he probably could have gotten it there. They make a tag.
Yeah, I did know that IRS was the Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas's dad. Yeah.
Here's Power coming back in. Benny Trailer up in the air, backbreaker across the knee. Couple of them by Power of the Miami New Breed. They make a tag.
Small of the back, and look at that. He just pops him straight up over the shoulder in a suplex fashion as his partner had dropped that elbow right into the small of the back. Takes him around, puts him over the shoulder like a sack. The shoulder breaker drops him down.
What happened
There's a tag on Power from Fear.
Oh,
boy. Shots him up.
Yeah, let's get these boys. Wrap it up. These guys are done.
Catches him with an arm. 1, 2, 3. Mercifully ending the match at that particular point.
Please, I just want a good Miami Vice tropical tag team. We lost the Beach Twins, but they weren't like Miami. They were like California vibe.
And Jerry.
Oh my gosh. Am I back up again? Maybe. Okay, I think I'm back again. For some reason, it let me resume the stream. I don't know what happened. Like my computer completely hard locked, but it let me come back. So, oh my god. All right. Well, anyway, since I could just resume, I'm gonna keep going. Hopefully, you guys, somebody will filter in. If not, you can watch the VOD.
The match at that particular point. Benny and Jerry, a couple of pretty doggone good scrappers. But I tell you, these guys are just entirely too much muscle.
Come on, the match is over here, but they continue to work on Garmin and Trailer. Referee trying to get them back away from him. Garmin and Trailer now both out of the ring. 3 minutes, 26 seconds the time, and the Miami New Breed, Power and Fear, get the win.
Back in just one moment.
Side of the screen in the yellow jacket, he has his team Sato.
For some reason, it let me resume the stream. I don't really know why. My computer was completely hard locked, but it let me resume. So I figured we'd at least finish the episode.
And Goto, Akio Sato, Tarzan Goto in the ring right now, set to do battle against David Haskins and David's partner, William the Bear Thompson. This match is underway. David Haskins started for his team, and it's Tarzan Goto starting for his. William the Bear Thompson back in Haskins' corner out of Arkansas. David Haskins out of Memphis. The Japanese team both out of Tokyo. Haskins.
Someone at YouTube is a Boit Watch fan.
And into the turnbuckle. His left shoulder hits the turnbuckle.
Haskins got quite a sizable partner today.
Oh, he does. Yeah. William the Bear.
How will the VOD work? You know what I mean? Like, will the VOD just automatically skip to where the stream continued?
At about 270. Haskins had the left arm barred and had Goto down on the mat. Goto back on his feet, forced back to his corner. David Haskins wisely uses the opportunity to make the tag on the Bear. Goto, big chops, puts him down to the mat.
The Bear much bigger than Goto, but boy, let me tell you, this Goto can go. Ooh. Slams the bear's head into the corner. Tag on Sato.
Akio Sato. Look at that. Ooh, he picked the bear up and slammed him.
That's what you call deceptively strong, this Akio Sato. Ooh. And he is going after William Thompson, the bear, wrestling out of Arkansas.
Every now and then you see a wrestler that just looks like he keeps all the energy coiled and he's ready to strike when he gets that tag and goes into the ring. Sato is that kind of wrestler. He's got it covered.
So is he... Okay, hold on. Didn't Mad Dog team up one time with Pork Chop Cash? I think that's right. Or the Bear teamed with him. But have we ever seen the Bear team up with Mad Dog? Or Bad Dog, whatever that guy's name is. Mad Dog, right?
Only had a 1 count, 1.5 maybe. The Bear able to break out of it. Sato with a tag on Tarzan Goto.
We have some guests here today from the Tokyo Broadcasting System. It is our understanding from them that they are shooting an hour-long documentary, and they're training their cameras right now on this world-class team of Sato and Goto.
Man, I'd like to see that.
That was their cameraman you saw.
I'd love to see that. An hour-long documentary about Goto and what's the other guy's name? Sato and Goto touring through Memphis. That'd be amazing.
Who was shooting independently on Sato and Goto, and over the shoulder, Sato takes the big bear, and then with both feet right in the midsection.
Right in the midsection. Bear gets covered. Counts at 2. He kicks out at 2. David Haskins is yelling.
Only I would tell everyone to leave and then immediately come back up again.
Kick out. He did. He rolls over and gets the tag, and here's Haskins.
I think to end the stream, I would have had to have gone live for like a second, and so I was like, I gotta go on I gotta come back on to end the stream anyway. So
back in. Haskins going after Sato.
Hey, look at that.
There's a cover. One is all he gets.
Several great aggressive moves from Haskins. Really looking good attacking Sato. With that standing side headlock now, cranking away. Sato takes him up. Oh, slams him down. Good move.
Was a good move. Dropped him backwards, hit on the right shoulder, so he'll be favoring that at least for a few minutes. Tarzan Goto. Oh, Tojo just smacked him in the head with that kendo stick. Haskins hit by the kendo stick, wielded by Tojo down at ringside.
Tojo caught the referee's back turn just a split second, and boy, like lightning, whip bang, he hit him with that kendo stick.
bang.
Sunset flip. Haskins has a 1. No.
Got the 2 count. Looked like he might have had him for a moment. Haskins in a dangerous place now. He's very close to the Japanese corner. Tojo is there. There's that kendo stick again.
Watch this guy down here, Jerry, swinging at the stick.
Power slam by Goto. And a cover on Haskins. Counts at 2. Haskins kicks out at 2.
Boy, he ate him up coming off those ropes with that power slam. Good, solid move. Sato now with Haskins drops right in the small of the back with his knee. Yamamoto still swinging that kendo stick at ringside down there.
I do feel like the Sato and Goto matches are like at least a tier or 2 above pretty much everything else on the card, unless Lawler's wrestling. like as far as like in-ring actual like good wrestling. I feel like they're like the best in the territory right now.
And Boston Crab, you don't see him too often. Sato's the man that knows how to do it. Is he going to give it up? Sato trying to hold a big, powerful...
No, hang on a second. There does not need to be two refs. There needs to be one ref that knows to keep his eyes on the action. What happened over on the sidelines a few minutes ago is that while Tojo was walking around outside the ring, he got a piece of garbage on the end of his cane, which he needs to walk, because of these filthy fans were throwing all their trash all over the floor like a bunch of animals. And he had a piece of trash on the end of his cane, and he reached up to wipe it off on a ring rope so that he could save, because he didn't want to slip on it, you know, because he has to put all of his weight on the cane to be able to, even to be able to walk. And, you know, he brushed that piece of garbage off, and just at that moment, you know, he happened to Haskins happened to be right there, and then Haskins played it up and acted like he hit him, whereas we all know what really happened.
Legs of Haskins down, and he's out of it now.
Well, you got to give Haskins credit. Not many wrestlers can hang in there that long with that Boston Crab. Sato had a pretty good one set up on him. Haskins presses Goto down. Couldn't hold him for the 3 count. Good drop kick by David. And again a cover. And again he can't make it stick for a 3 count. Haskins really showing some good moves. And
Now listen, you're telling me, right? David Haskins is over in that corner. He gets hit by, one of the greatest Memphis athletes of all time, Tojo Yamamoto. He's going to take a full-on crack to the head from his cane. And then a few minutes later, he's going to be up running around. Everything's fine. Get serious. He'd be in the hospital right now. If he had hit him with that cane on purpose to hurt him, this match would be over. He would be in the hospital. Probably people would be preparing condolences.
good aggressive moves here today against both Sato and Goto. This is William the Bear Thompson back in. We just passed the 6-minute mark of this match. One fall, 10 minutes is the time limit.
The Bear double whipped into the rope. And double chopped as the big fella came off. One. And he gets out of it.
Got out of it at the 2 count. The Japanese team so far, every time they've had William the Bear in there.
I mean, some of these guys, man, I don't want to disrespect them because they got in there and they tried, but man, some of them are just the absolute shits.
They've been able to use his own weight against him. Reverses him into the turnbuckle. Side kick. Bear went in too quick.
Man, that hurt me all the way over here, David. He got that foot up and drilled him. So effortlessly. 1, 2, 3. Goto.
Dave Brown ought to be, maybe it would have been a better day for the Bear if he'd have just stayed hibernating, Lance.
Man, but it was set up by that amazing sidekick. A super kick.
Great match. Anytime the Bear wasn't in the ring, I think it was a pretty good match. Overall, though, I thought it was a good match.
From Sato puts the Bear on the deck. Goto is in to get a 1, 2, 3. And the Japanese team comes out victorious. Time
6 minutes, 54 seconds.
6:54. And Sato and Goto rack up another victory. Timeout. We'll be back in a moment.
Team Japan is dominating. Have they lost? I don't think they've lost a match yet. Like, their storyline is just that they're bad guys, but it's a compelling storyline. You know what I mean? Just like drifting from one, one match feud to the next, but it's like interesting because of the promos, and the matches are really good too.
Wednesday night, Evansville Coliseum, son of a gun, we got 5 matches. 4 of them are championship matches. One of them is going to be an international title defense by Sato and Goto, who got the belts back, but this time 2 referees with Jeff and Pat.
That's right, Lance. Last week they got us with outside interference.
Yes.
This week we got 2 referees, and not going to be any outside interference. We're going to do everything in our power, you people in Evansville, to get those belts back.
Yeah, you beat them once. By golly, good luck to you on the second time. Here they are, the new champions. We're talking about Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Junior going against Fire and Flame Wednesday night. They're master in Wednesday night in Evansville, Indiana.
They're like, hey, listen, neither one of these guys can cut a promo to save their life. Can just play their music at full blast during their interview.
Mask is coming off. If I might have to use this big old bell upside the head. One of them got a big old belly, the other got a big old head. We're going to take the mask off of both of them. And we got something for y'all, too. It's a little sneaky trick of ours. Looking forward to seeing that match as well as listen to this, will you? I'm talking about a Texas death match with the Southern heavyweight belt at stake. The King going against Bam Bam Bigelow. What a blowout Wednesday night.
You got that right, Lance. The Southern heavyweight.
Bam Bam's time in the territory is coming to a close. He's got to go up against the King.
Title, my belt, I might add, is going to be at stake. Now, Bam Bam, it's easy for you to stand out here and make those goofy faces while Larry Sharp stands in front of you to tell everybody how big and how bad you are, how tough you are, how you can't be beat. Well, you might believe it. He might can fill you with a pack of lies, and you might believe it, brother. But I don't believe it, and I don't think the people in Evansville believe that you can't be beat. Because I'm going to show you Wednesday night why they call me the king of wrestling, brother. This match, Texas death match, anything goes. It can't be stopped. The falls don't count. You can't get disqualified. They don't stop it if you're bleeding from head to toe. It just goes until one man can't answer the bell, and then he has to be hauled out on a stretcher. And then the winner is going to get to put that Southern heavyweight belt back around his waist. And that's what I plan to do. Somewhere on the line, you sat down and had some flames tattooed on that bald head of yours. Well, Wednesday night, Bam Bam, we're going to see how you look with some real fire up there.
Man with a staying power. See him Wednesday.
Be there.
Hey, for you folks that are hardy wrestling fans that really go in for the rough and tough action, let me tell you what, there's a new video cassette that is out. It's about 70 minutes of some awesome brutality. It is called Madmen, Maniacs, and Lunatics, and it is available with just incredible amount of action that you're going to find these guys going at each other's throats like you have seen on some occasions. All of it rounded up into one single tape. Now, it'll have them all. Stan Hansen, the big guy who was with the AWA.
Do you remember what the name of it was? It was something in Lunatics. Maybe I can find a copy of it. It was like Lunatics, Weirdos.
They will be out there. Okay, we'll hold it up and you'll get a chance to take a look at it. It is Madmen, Maniacs, and Lunatics. You're going to find also included on this tape will be the footage from the classic match between Jerry the King Lawler and Andy Kaufman. And there will be much, much more. You will be seeing Man Mountain Link. You'll be seeing the fabulous one.
I've added it to a dossier.
Will be on there. Kamala, the Ugandan giant, will be there. Many, many others, all included on 70 minutes of wall-to-wall mayhem taking place on Mad Men.
I don't know about you. I need to see that shit.
Maniacs and Lunatics. It's available in this cassette by ordering only from this situation. You can send $29.95 with $5.25.
Damn, $35.
Postage and handling to P.O. Box 3020, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 08034. Master charge and Visa accepted. The actual tape is 74 minutes long of action that is incomparable, believe me. Or you can call a telephone number right now, and that's a quick way to do it with your Master charge or Visa, 1-800-524-2507. 1-800-524.
You know what I'd like to watch on here sometime too is like they're like really good best of whoever in Japan tapes that are like an hour, a couple hours, sometimes longer. There's one of Terry Gordy and Steve Williams. I think would be fun to watch like all their best Japanese tag matches.
242507. Get your copy of Madmen, Maniacs, and Lunatics Volume 1, available right now. We are ready for action in the ring.
indeed.
Let me ring the bell. Bing, bing, bing. All right. We've got a final tag.
Juicy Johnny and Keith Oh my God, Keith Roberson. They wasted him. He had that good gimmick there for a couple weeks.
Match coming up with Jeff Jarrett, Pat Tanaka, classy young team.
They're going against Keith.
$30, like, it's definitely expensive, but if you look at what Coliseum home video, the WWF tapes cost, they were like $80 to $100 sometimes.
Roberson and Juicy Johnny over on the other side. Keith Robertson, I beg your pardon. Robertson out of Memphis, Tennessee. Juicy Johnny out of Miami, Florida. Across the way, Jeff Jarrett is from Nashville, Tennessee, and Pat Tanaka from Hawaii. Tag team match goes to the expiration of time. Jerry Calhoun, the referee, and the warm-up jackets out of the ring. Bell sounds, and it is Juicy Johnny starting against Jeff Jarrett.
Whoa, kiddo! Expiration of time on this particular one. And if we have the time and the situation arises, we'll have more than one fall. I see on the back of the tights of Robertson, Keith the Beef.
Keith the Beef.
Is there something different about Juicy Johnny? Did he always have this? Did he have a different outfit on or something? I feel like he seems different somehow.
Right.
Yes. Juicy Johnny facing Jerry Jarrett in there. I think Jeff has got to, if every third time I say Jerry, you will understand. I think Jeff takes the record as coming along as fast as any wrestler I have ever seen in the ring. He really has picked it up. And boy, what a dandy partner.
Oh, yes, indeed. And Pat Tanaka, expert in the martial arts.
That guy, I don't know. Some of these guys, you just wonder, like, I wish I could know, like, the story of Roberson.
Keith Robertson and Juicy Johnny both down on the floor, and the referee said, come on, you got to get back in here. Juicy Johnny steps back. He's over complaining to Robertson now about something. The referee won't listen. Maybe it's...
Yeah, I remember. Okay, it says I'm reconnected. Okay, there it plummeted. Oh man, it's so stressful. Okay, I think I'm back up.
Break. Juicy Johnny yelling he had his hair pulled.
Oh my gosh, hang on. Okay. Oh my God. Are we back up now? What a disaster. What a disaster stream.
And the referee was questioning him about it. Meanwhile, Tanaka broke the hold. Over to the corner. The tag on Jeff Jarrett. Jeff dropping down off the ropes onto the left arm of Juicy Johnny out of Miami, Florida. Johnny pulled the hair. Jarrett with a shoulder butt off the ropes. This time he steps over Juicy Johnny. Johnny tries to set. Jeff tries to...
I'm not gonna give in though. We're gonna finish this episode of Memphis Wrestling. I've got to.
Reverse him. He can't get him off his feet. A flip. A nice one by Jeff Jarrett. And Juicy Johnny ends up after all of that on the mat.
By golly, there's a move right there, Dave. Imagine, we're talking about a wrestler that you're counting his experience in terms of months, in terms of weeks.
Weeks, really, right.
And pulls off a move like that. Incredible, no question about it. Juicy Johnny, Jeff Jarrett at it in the middle of the ring. One fall, expiration of time. Not necessarily one fall. Take that back. We'll check and see how much time we have left. Keith Robertson is on the outside. Pat Tanaka just took the peg, and the young Hawaiian comes in.
Pat Tanaka, got reversed that time on that left arm. Juicy Johnny over to the ropes and makes the tag on Keith the Beef Robertson. Robertson rakes his hands across Pat Tanaka's eyes. That gave him at least a momentary advantage. He had a headlock on Tanaka, but Tanaka sent him into the rope. Shoulder butt by Robertson. Robertson doing some damage here. He's backdrop coming off the ropes by Pat Tanaka. Tanaka set with that back kick. Got a cover before the referee can get the count going, though. Juicy Johnny is in to break it up. Pat Tanaka, Jeff Jarrett with a conference. Juicy Johnny, Keith Robertson over in their corner. They make a tag. Juicy Johnny coming in. Tanaka backed into the turnbuckles. Juicy Johnny has him there. Tanaka right in. He let fly with that chop, and Juicy.
Like, no offense to Jeff Jarrett and Pat Tanaka, but aren't they pretty much like the least interesting tag team in Memphis?
Johnny's backing up. Tanaka makes the tag. Into the ropes goes Juicy Johnny. Jeff Jarrett presses him down. Might be it. 1, 2. He got it. Got it. 4 minutes, 36 seconds. The first fall to Jeff Jarrett and Pat Tanaka.
We'll check our time and see if we have time for another fall and be back in just a moment. Where this may not be the most tactful thing in the world, but by golly, I'm going to do it anyhow. I am going to ask one wrestler to appraise another wrestler, and the guy that I have standing in with me is somebody who's
is wearing apparently a Donald Duck sweater.
Opinion I respect tremendously, and not only his opinion, but his wrestling too. The King, Jerry Lawler, and the guy that we want to talk about, and the reason, Jerry, I ask you.
Absolute Keno. Look at this. Oh, just think about it. All the disconnections, hard locking my computer. It was all worth it because look at this. Jerry Lawler in a Donald Duck sweater. Or is that a t-shirt? I mean, just what an aesthetic choice.
To come out here is because there's been so much comment about this guy, Bam Bam Bigelow, and the fact that a guy this big is that agile, and I'm really, you faced them all. There's nobody that you haven't faced, and you've beaten them all, and I want to find out what your opinion of this Bam Bam is.
Well, it's really aggressive. Like, it's got the Freddy Krueger colors, kind of, that like irritate a lot of people's eyes, and then you've got this twisted version of like this angry Donald Duck about to wind off.
I'll talk about Bam Bam. I got a lot of things to say. First of all, I think the reason, Lance, you got me out here today is because you want me to talk the timeout. I've heard a lot of people say, Lance, you talk the timeout on the end of the show and we don't get to see wrestling. But there's been a great show today. I want to real quick congratulate the Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Junior on the new
champion. Did you ever see two guys who were any happier? Boy, I loved it for them.
They were tickled to death. I was happy for them too.
Hey, wait a minute. Now, before we go on,
okay,
can you give me a shot of this shirt? Now, this is our king right here.
somebody sent me this shirt, and it said, this is Donald Duck pulling the strap down. So I thought it was,
I love it.
Isn't that good?
Yeah. Okay, now let's get back to Bam.
Great shirt, great lore.
Okay, we'll talk. That's a question, Lance, that I've been asked by a lot of wrestling fans ever since Bam Bam has come into the area. And put, as a matter of fact, just the same way you put it, they said, King, you've wrestled the biggest and the baddest guys that have ever come through here, but you seem to be having problems with Bigelow. And matter of fact, I just had a kid a while ago ask me, he said, what would you rate Bigelow on a scale of 1 to 10 with the biggest guys you've ever wrestled? And I told the kid, I said, I have to rate him a 12 because the guy is, he is different in a way, as you know, Lance. I mean, I've wrestled guys like Hulk Hogan and guys like Ken Patera and King Kong Bundy and a lot of, the Road Warriors, Humongous, all of these big guys. But a difference, and even Andre the Giant.
I think Humongous was Sid, right? Do I got that right? I think so.
But one of the things that's different about these guys, a lot of these guys, you look at them, and some of these guys have, you know, they got muscles in places, and most people don't even have places. But when you get a guy like that, even on today's show, if you saw this Miami New Breed,
yeah,
some of these guys, even though when you look at them, they say, "Oh my gosh, that's an awesome specimen of a man there." But a lot of times when these guys get muscles that big, you've heard the expression, and it's very true. You can get muscle bound, and a lot of these guys are just that. And when you can use that to your advantage, because when a guy's that big and those muscles are that big, they don't have the flexibility, they don't have the movement, the agility that a lot of these guys have. And that's the way I've been able to, I just keep thinking somewhere in there I'm going to be able to outmaneuver these guys, and that usually works with the big guys. But with Bam Bam Bigelow, even though he weighs over 400 pounds, and even though he's not the big muscles, he's just a big, huge, solid, super strong individual, and the most agile wrestler that I've ever been in the ring with for anybody even close to his size. Yeah. I mean, when a guy that weighs 400 pounds can be standing flat foot and jump up and drop kick you right in the mouth, this guy is agile, and you see the cartwheels and the dives off the top rope. It's just a different kind of situation, and I'll be honest.
I like this approach to, like, the champion kind of, or, well, I guess he's the challenger in this case, but, like, the Superman babyface is able to be like, hey, I'm in trouble here. This dude's, run down every reason that he could, that this guy could beat him. I think that's cool, but I don't think you see it a lot anymore. It's all like running down the other person.
To be honest with you, so far I haven't been able to find the chink in the armor, but it's something that it may not come overnight. It's I have never tried to stand out here and tell everybody that I can beat any wrestler every time I step in the ring with him. It may take me a while, but the old sayings don't get to be old sayings unless they're true. And there's one that says the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And one of these days, as big as Bam Bam is, I'm going to find a way, and he's going to fall. And when he falls, Lance, he's going to fall hard. I can guarantee you that.
Jerry, I appreciate your honesty on it, and I got to tell you this. I've had a lot of people ask me about, what about the King? I mean, he really having some problems with Bam Bam. Well, anybody's going to have problems with Bam Bam.
That's right.
The answer that I have told them, and I think you're almost saying it right there, the difference between the King and Bam Bam Bigelow is right here. You're just a whole lot smarter than most guys that get in that ring, and sooner or later it's going to pay off in there. I said all the good things I want to say about you. Thanks, Jerry, for being on. Okay, Davey, what about a review of this great show today? Thanks, Jerry.
All right. Well, the King and his partner, the Killer, won their match today as they defeated the team that they were put in there against, the Scorpions. JT Southern won his match. Then we had the Southern Tag Team title match. Now, again today, Fire and Flame came in here. Promoter Eddie Marlin checks and says, all right, you've got the belts. They're on the line. And the mystery team came out. Well, the mystery team came out to the music. It was the Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Junior. They danced and they partied and they had a great time before the match, but nothing compared to after the match, because the Giant Hillbilly dropped down with that, what do they call it, the Mississippi Splash. He drops down, and that was it. Count of 1, 2, 3. The Giant Hillbilly and Cousin Junior are the new Southern Tag Team champions as they got those belts here today.
And wasn't any accident either. A beautiful reversal by Cousin Junior in there, or by Giant Hillbilly when he was trying to throw him over into Cousin.
Get out of here. Let's watch that Vince McMahon Phil Donahue episode, or at least part of it.
Now stepping forward, a lot of men saying that there's a good deal of gay sex abuse underway in the world of wrestling, and everybody all these years has been scared to step forward. Now come forward a number of people to say, because I wouldn't have sex with another guy,
Barry O was on this episode,
in the game, I couldn't get promoted, including 3. Honestly, some. Well, listen, while you're laughing, this has been a not-so-funny issue for women. Now we have a casting couch, essentially, alleged, in the wrestling game, and some guys are saying, I lost my job because I wouldn't do this to this guy who was higher, more powerful than me on the ladder. And before you think this is trivial, first of all, let's understand that a couple of these charges involve kids, 14 years old, juveniles. You go to jail for a long time if you're involved with sex of any kind with a juvenile. One more point. The Wrestling Federation, you know how you tee-hee, ha-ha, what a joke, hoo-hoo, $1.7 billion in 1990. That's more revenue that has been generated by the NFL. So while you're laughing, somebody is whistling all the way to the bank. We have 3 people who used to be in the wrestling game who are going to tell you that they indeed encountered people who wanted sexual favors, and they were professionally penalized when they said no. And if you think the WWF is hiding behind lawyers, here is the head of that organization who has accepted.
I'm still mind blown that he showed up on this show. And dude, he came to go to war. This is such a good Vince performance.
Incidentally, recently, resignations from 2 executives who stand accused of gay sexual harassment. He'll have a prepared statement. First, let's get the charges underway here. Gentlemen, Murray Hodgson, hired by Vince McMahon, here on my left for the TV job. You were the commentator. And then fired 2 months later. What happened? Can you specifically, and without taking us around the world, tell us, what is it that happened to you?
I wouldn't sleep with the vice president of operations, so they fired me.
Is the vice president of operations one of those who resigned?
Yes, he is.
And do you want to name him?
I don't think that'd be necessary.
What did you announce? Did you do any color for any telecasts?
Yes.
About how long did you do the color?
Oh, I started for about a month. They hired me for...
Okay, so the people who resigned, we're talking Pat Patterson, the Garvin guy. Which Garvin was it? It was Pat Patterson, a Garvin, and Mel Phillips, I think, were the 3 who stepped down.
For a 2-year deal, and it just went right out the window when I decided that I didn't want to sleep with the vice president.
You
remember, again, I've always got to bring it up on the documentary. Bruce Pritchard is like, I never heard anything. I never heard anything about Pat Patterson doing anything. Vince told me, he said, Bruce, Pat Patterson is the innocent one. Okay? Pat Patterson never did nothing to nobody. That's just all innuendo, propaganda and innuendo. And then it cuts to Tony Atlas saying, yeah, Pat Patterson grabbed my pecker in the shower.
Was there any touching? Was there any kind of vulgar locker room activity? We're trying to be specific here, Murray, as a court of law would oblige any person to be of any gender.
It was a little worse than that. He blatantly threatened my job security.
He didn't say sleep with me, did he?
Yeah, Terry Garvin, yeah.
Way men talk?
I don't think this is the proper forum to be
I agree with you, and I appreciate very much you're bringing a certain amount of decorum to this. This is a daytime television show, and we don't want to draw any dirty pictures. Did it happen more than once?
No.
Just once?
Yeah.
And then how long after you said no were you dismissed?
Just a couple of weeks.
Barry Orton. Here's Barry O, the former professional wrestler who you think you lost your job with the WWF after refusing similarly.
Actually, no, I've never actually said that. Okay, that's something that the media has come out, and with the stories that I've given, they have kind of turned it around to where I've said that. I've never said that. However, I had encounters with 2 of the gentlemen that have resigned since the allegations began. And these incidents, of course, happened in 1978, which is a long time ago. However, the impact and the gravity of the situations are very severe. And, you know, if they were behaving that way then, and, you know, they would be behaving that way now, I would expect.
No laugh here. You accuse an executive grabbing your crotch, legs, and chest and wouldn't stop.
Yeah, well, I was in between the 2 of them in the back seat of a car on a trip.
You were in the center.
Right.
And you thought it to be a place where a junior guy has to sit.
Pretty much,
This would be early 80s?
This was 1978.
78.
Right.
So this is before the billion-dollar Wrestling Mania pay TV Hulk Hogan
yes.
era. And you had to drive. You know, you guys weren't weren't walking in money then.
Right, and everyone, the more people in the car, the better, because everyone would split the expenses and keep their travel.
And then don't you saying that you got out of the car and said, not me, and...
Oh, yeah, it went on for several minutes. I finally demanded that the car be... At first, I thought it was kind of funny that they were joking, but then it became, harassment.
Right. Barry, it would be hard for a jury to feel a whole lot of sympathy for a guy of your size, you know what I mean? A helpless woman you're not. How old were you when this transpired?
19 years old. Probably about 35 pounds lighter.
And also probably not altogether together in your head, like a lot of 19-year-olds. I don't know.
Oh, absolutely not. And I was trying to be accepted into the business. Yeah. I was young, I was green.
Yeah, I thought I was too, but that for some reason it just let me resume the stream. I don't know. And then after I came back, then it crashed twice again, but we held on.
You got the big dream ahead of you. Maybe you're going to be the big guy, and there was money if you got on the main card.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're following your dream, and I suppose you want us to know, among other things, that when a couple of guys in the game...
The sick, evil freaks tried to censor, isolate, and terrorize me, but it didn't work. We came through the combined power of Grace-a-mania to keep this stream alive.
Executive types come on to you like that, and you're 19 years old, you may be a little hestant to tee them off.
Of course. And so I endured it for as long as I could until it became, I started feeling suffocated or, and I couldn't take it anymore.
Tom Hankins, you're likewise a pro wrestler. What's your story, Tom?
Well, I'm a former pro wrestler. I got out of the business about 4 years ago, but back in 1985 in Los Angeles, California, at the University Hilton Hotel.
I was known as, I wrestled under the name of Andre the Giant.
After the WWF had run a card at the sports arena, I was sitting at a bar with, I guess, can I name these people?
Sure, go ahead.
With Pat Patterson, Andre the Giant, Dr. Jerry Graham, and Mike LaBelle. He was the Los Angeles promoter at the time, or a former promoter in Los Angeles.
Right.
And we sat there drinking maybe for an hour or so. I was talking to Pat. I'd known Pat for maybe 6 months. I knew he was gay, but, it didn't matter to me if he was gay or not. And I knew he was actually kind of running the shows in L.A. at the time. I don't believe he was in position as the booker yet. And I asked him...
Let me interrupt to say that he is one of the executives who has resigned.
Right.
Very good, sir.
And I asked him what was the chance of using me to do jobs, which means I was a...
Who was the long-haired guy? Barry Orton, Barry O.
Loser. I'm not real big. I never made a lot of money in the business. I didn't really expect to go in the WWF, make a lot of money.
But you wanted to be in the game?
Yeah, I loved the business. I started out, I worked for $10 a night sometimes in Tennessee, just to wrestle, just to be in the business.
Right.
At the time, in '85, I was wrestling in Hawaii, in Mexico, and Southern California. So I asked Pat for, if you give me a shot or at least a tryout. He said, well, you got 2 chances, slim and none. He goes, well, there is one way. And he wanted me to come up to the room with him and have oral sex with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, I'm not interested. And after that, I went to the next show they had at the sports arena. Went down to the dressing room where they'd always let me, I was in the dressing room, friends with a lot of the other wrestlers there. And Pat had me physically thrown out after that, acted like he didn't know me.
Right. What brings you forward now, gentlemen?
Actually, I came forward because when Vince said Barry's charges were ridiculous, it was just, I knew it was something that went on in the business, and anybody in this business really knew about it, knew what was going on with Patterson.
Mm-hmm. So this is like this is a feature of this culture that has been underway for a long time, and because it often involves near
Randy's uncle,
jobless, vulnerable young males who wanted to be either in the game or on the card, they'd back up and nobody wanted to blow any whistles. And I think, if I may, this also should be said, you didn't get a lot of press scrutiny. Nobody took you seriously anyway. Mainstream sports press today doesn't. And Mushnick of the New York Post writes a piece, Phil Mushnick of the New York Post.
Mushnick, if you remember, has always been like a thorn in the side of Vince McMahon. Remember during the Attitude Era, he wrote all those editorials, and then they had Cornette respond to the editorials on Raw.
His lead last week, the billion-dollar pro wrestling empire is about to be shaken to its foundations by a teenage boy scandal, the Post has learned. All right, here's part of the story then, and Mr. McMahon, sir, you are the boss. you are what we would call in my neighborhood when we were growing up a successful big shot. This is some operation you have. Over $1 billion in annual revenue. You have, throughout the 80s, taken this thing that so many people snicker at. You have filled the Pontiac Superdome with the help of Hulk Hogan and an occasional theatrical idea that included Cyndi Lauper and the marriage of kind of pop music with this through the roof. Through the roof. The PGA should pray for these kinds of revenues. And now, here you are being accused, Mr. McMahon, of presiding over an organization that looked the other way while these sex harassment charges were being, sex harassment activity was taking place. Sir, you wanted to say.
We've never looked the other way in anything. And I'm very happy to confront everyone today with whatever allegation they have. The three individuals about whom most of these allegations are hurled are no longer with the WWF. We have started an independent investigation on our own to get to the bottom of all of this, and that's why we're here today, is to get to the bottom of it. We may even learn something here today.
What a maestro. Look at how great Vince's performance is here. He's coming in humble, soft. Listen, we don't overlook anything. If something's happened here, it's because I didn't know about it. Now, as soon as I found out about it, I put these boys, I put them on leave. They had to resign, whatever. He's really trying to build himself up as a sympathetic character here, and he's doing a pretty good job. If you're open to it, I mean.
My investigators do not know. I want to get to the bottom of it, just like you gentlemen do.
What would you like to say to him? Anybody?
I'd like to say that it's about time because up until now you've been animately denying that not only that this is taking place, but that, and you're saying that you knew nothing of it, and I just find that really difficult to believe.
Well, there's no reason. How do you find it difficult to believe that I knew nothing of it? Why would I condone this kind of activity and risk this alleged kind of revenue?
Because, Vince, because you are the king of an empire, and you have eyes and ears everywhere, and it is so common, at least the topic of conversation for 3 to 5 minutes every night in the dressing room, because a lot of the guys, they have to put up with it, and they hate it, because if they say anything, they're out of a job.
I don't believe that to be the case, but there may be some of it. If that's the case, then let's get to the bottom of it. I'm anxious to learn, just as you are.
Well,
I want a wholesome organization. I want an organization that everyone can be proud of. I want to get to the bottom of it, just like you do.
This happened to me. I tried to call you. I called the WWF offices. You were always in a meeting. They took my number, said you'd return my call. But, you didn't want to talk to me, basically. And I'm sure at the time you didn't know who I was, didn't know what I had to say. But, I tried to explain it to whoever I talked to, and I called. And, they didn't want to.
This was when, sir?
1985.
I don't recall the telephone
Has
call.
there been any lawsuit?
Do you believe that sexual harassment exists?
I mean, Vince is just, this to me is a masterclass in how to win the crowd and have them ignore what's going on in favor of being like, you know what, I don't know about what's going on here, but I like this guy. I feel like he does a really good job of doing that here. Although he does get kind of heated at a few points.
Exists in your workplace?
I believe that there's a possibility of sexual harassment existing everywhere. And
I asked directly if it was at the World Wrestling Federation.
And I don't want it in my organization. I don't want it.
I'd like to reiterate the question. Do you believe there is sexual harassment amongst the wrestlers or employees at the World Wrestling Federation today?
There is a possibility of that. That's why I have these independent investigators to come in.
And who are these independent investigators?
Fairfax Group Limited. And I would like, to hear what you have to say, and everyone has to say. I want to get to the bottom of it.
Would you therefore believe that because of all these allegations coming forward and more corroborating evidence proving that there's no doubt sexual harassment is running rampant in the World Wrestling Federation, that you are definitely going to come public and do something about it?
Why wouldn't I? If in fact that is the case, why wouldn't I do something about it? Why would I risk what we have?
Because you haven't done anything about it until it became public, because you thought it was under the water.
Because I had no knowledge of it.
I made knowledge of it to you when I was fired, and you just blew it off and let me go. I retained a lawyer.
Because you were not very good. You were not a very good announcer. You could not. It's the only reason why you were fired. You could not make the transition from radio to television. That is the only reason why you were fired.
I would like to remind you, sir, that I have a 2-year contract. 2 years.
You also have a clause in your contract that states, and as you know, you were hired on a trial basis.
I was not hired on a trial basis.
You do not have a contract?
Mr. McMahon, I have a 2-year deal with your firm.
In that contract, you will note, in a clause, it states very clearly, and I have it outlined for all to see here today, that you can be fired almost at whim if, in fact, you're not doing a good job. You did a horrible job. That's the only reason why you were fired. That's it.
Maybe I should point out, first and foremost, that might be your inability to pick good talent.
It could be.
You had a national talent search, Vince McMahon.
It could be.
You had
Absolute self-roast. Unintentional, but still he's saying like, you know what? You firing me because I'm bad at what I do is just an indicator that you're not very good at picking who to hire. And he's like, yeah, you could be right.
advertised in Billboard magazine and across many different media sources searching for one man that could be the new face and voice of the World Wrestling Federation. You flew me in back and forth 4 and 5 different times from Detroit, and you chose over the course of 1 year of negotiations that I would be the man for that job. I didn't sleep with your vice president. 2 weeks later, I'm fired. I also want to point out one very important fact. From your office came a letter to my landlord to verify my employment. From that letter, I must bring this point up. It says Murray Hodson has a very secure job with Titan Sports and is a...
Can you imagine just the head of a almost multi-billion-dollar in revenue company CEO that just goes on a fucking talk show and just shoots it out with like literally his like ops that are suing him, and he's just having it out with them on this daytime talk show?
Positive and productive employee from your office. Just because I don't sleep with your vice president, that qualifies to blow me out of a 2-year deal? I don't buy it.
Right.
I don't buy
Well, said very well, but I believe untrue. If in fact these allegations against Pat Patterson, whom you won't name, are true, why not pursue the legal course, the legal recourse? Why not pursue?
We are doing that right now.
You are. And you are aware that you waited 6 months after you were let go to bring these homosexual charges against Pat Patterson. 6 months you waited. Why?
September 14th.
If in fact you were fired on the spot, if you were fired for incompetence, all right, why didn't you say right then, why didn't you say, hey, look, Vince, your vice president made a pass at me. You never told me that. No one had any knowledge. Human resources had no knowledge of that. Rene Dubose was waiting to hear your story. Why did you wait 6 months? You asked me for $160,000 today, otherwise you were coming on this program. I'm happy you're on this program.
Mr. McMahon, do not try to deflect the truth here. First and
what are you
foremost,
asking for? How much money have you asked?
Let me tell you something, brother. First of all, you don't hold up Vince McMahon. That's not going to go well. He tried to hold him up before the show. Or do you think he just dropped it like randomly?
I have never asked for any amount of money from you. You have tried to buy me off to shut up so I wouldn't come forward and tell of these allegations that's running through the World Wrestling Federation.
Your attorney should be consulted.
My attorney, on September of 1991, came forward to you with a letter addressed to you, telling you exactly what happened and that I was discharged wrongfully. I had a 2-year contract and that you, too, were well aware of the fact that there was a homosexual advance made against me. Don't tell me I waited 6 months. 3 weeks later, I was on your rear end.
3 months later?
6 weeks later.
No.
The only reason we waited a little longer was because you continued to try to negotiate to buy me out, and I wouldn't allow it.
The fact of the matter is, if you look into this man's past, the fact of the matter, if you look into your
I don't think we should bring up the past.
I guess not.
The issue at hand here, Mr. McMahon, is one.
This is so good. This is Boyd. This is big budget Boyd. He's... I can't. I got to gather my thoughts.
One thing and one thing only. You addressed on Larry King Live Friday. Friday on CNN. You went on and you said that I never worked for the World Bodybuilding Federation. I am on a video that is sold around worldwide.
True, your
my
voice.
So you told the country that I didn't work for the World Wrestling Federation.
You say you were a freelance and you were hired.
Well, of course not.
Right.
But you Second of all, you said you fired me. You didn't fire me. John Filippelli not only gave me the letter, but he also fired me. John felt so bad that I was being released that he allowed me to stay at his house if I wanted to and be with his family until I could find further place to live.
And that's, my friend.
Oh, I was gonna say that's just such a way that he did that, where he's like, you know what? Let's dig into this guy's past a little bit, and the guy was like, now hold on a minute here. There's no need to go into people's pasts.
Speaks to all of the good deeds and good people throughout the World Wrestling Federation. We're talking about 3 people here. We're talking about 3 people, and only 3 people that have brought these allegations against. We're not talking about the 300. We're not talking about all of the wrestlers and things of that nature. Let's keep some balance here.
Let me make the point that this very important conflict transpires at a time that the all-time star of the wrestling game, Hulk Hogan, felt obliged to go on the Arsenio Hall show to say, I do not use steroids, only to be followed by a number of...
I don't believe you said that, Phil, if I can...
well, he said I used it, what, 3 times
He did admit to steroid usage.
He said 3 times. And we have now several people stepping forward to say, listen, I sent Federal Express packages. They were picked up here and there. This is not to suggest that we know the absolute answer to this. This is rather to call your attention to the fact that now some inquiry extends to Hulk Hogan. Why is that important? Because he's on just about every kind of child's toy you can buy. We're talking Hasbro here. Some of the biggest giants in the manufacturing of toys are, and the images. He's not yet Mickey Mouse, but $1 billion worth of business. How much at risk is this? And how much will the steroid controversy find its way onto the front pages or the sports pages of our newspapers? An establishment that, as we have said, has largely ignored any kind of probe of the wrestling game. We'll talk with journalists who have probed it in just a moment.
God damn, what an opening segment. That was heat right out of the gate. Just doing drugs and watching Phil Donahue.
Dave Meltzer. Dave, you're an editor.
Yo, here we go, guys. Dave Meltzer has arrived.
The Wrestling Observer, which is what? The New York Times of Wrestling?
Oh, I wouldn't say that, but...
All right, well, you might as well if I say... John Arezzi is a talk show host, a wrestling program on WEVD-AM. You guys will agree that the mainstream folks really haven't had a whole lot of time for...
John Arezzi has that something then and now, pro wrestling then and now show where he like had a radio show in the 90s, and then he goes back and revisits them so many like years later.
Or any kind of probe or serious attention to wrestling, isn't that so?
Well, I think that's wrestling in general has never gotten its due recognition as far as its popularity.
As a business.
As
very
a business
big business.
and entertainment, both positive and negative. I think that it hasn't been given, and maybe perhaps that's why a lot of things have happened.
Okay.
That
you mean over the years and no whistles have been blown.
Exactly.
Give me your shortest speech, Dave. What's going on here? Why is this serious? I mean, I think we know, but there is a kind of a tendency to chuckle at this. You know, the big boys are playing with each other is kind of ha-ha. And it isn't. It's
not at all. No.
Well, tell them why. Tell them why this is important.
There's so many different issues here, and the as far as like a criminal thing, I think hopefully everybody in this panel wants just the truth to come out, and I don't know what the truth is. We all hear different versions of a story, and we just want to hear the truth.
Very good.
So that's fine.
John, what would you add to that? Same question.
Well, the mainstream media pretty much has ignored the entire situation. They really just started jumping on it last year with allegations of steroid abuse in the World Wrestling Federation, and now they've really come alive.
And what do you think? That's what opened the door to these charges?
I think what opened the door to all these charges basically was the fact that last year, after the steroid trial of Zaharian, Vince McMahon started a steroid policy.
Dr. Zaharian, Harrisburg, PA, 3 years steroid.
No, Dave Meltzer was not a former wrestler, but he was like he still is now. He's in like wrestler. He's in good shape. He's just not a wrestler.
Steroid distribution.
Right.
Yeah.
And after that trial, Mr. McMahon started a steroid policy, and during that press conference, he did not invite the wrestling media. I alerted Phil Muchnick to that, and after that, that's when certain people started calling Mr. Muchnick about other allegations.
You speak of the New York Post reporter.
Yes.
Superstar Billy Graham, I'll tell you what, he's won his share. Former pro wrestling champ.
I just want to point out that, and I'm not judging, but I did think it's like, I want to note it, that a lot of the people that were involved in this episode would kind of change their stories not too long after this and be like welcomed back into the fold. Like I think Barry O got one more WWF run after this, because I think he kind of either Vince after this, Vince gets him to change his story, or maybe he didn't go as negative as they wanted him to on here or something, but Barry O got something out of it. Billy Graham eventually got his redemption arc for a while.
Hey, baby. Oh, they still love you, Billy. Don't tell them I had to give you a shot before the show, right in the mouth, because you were disobeying my orders. Hey, what's not so funny, Billy? Tell them. You saw ring boys, did you, being sexually harassed?
Yes, I've seen ring boys being sexually harassed.
What's a ring boy?
A ring boy is a person who's usually employed to put up and.
So just like it's interesting that like we're watching the beginning of Jeff Jarrett's career versus the end of it, I think it's interesting that this is 1992 and they're talking about the ring boy scandal, and it's just now looking like it might be litigated. Like, that's crazy.
Take down a ring, travel from one town to another. Age group possibly from 13 to 19 to 20, fluctuates anywhere in between.
And you saw what?
I saw on one occasion, I believe it was New Haven, Connecticut, Pat Patterson actually grabbed one of these.
Did he say New Haven, Connecticut? Is Ruby one of the victims?
One of these children, rather, in the crotch while putting up the ring. I came to the arena a little bit early, walking by the ring to the locker room, and I saw Pat Patterson with his left arm on the kid's shoulder and his right hand in his crotch. I witnessed this for myself.
You also claim to have... you did not see the abuse of a 12-year-old boy in the car. You mentioned this on Larry King's program.
I wasn't on Larry King's program.
Weren't you? I'm sorry, Barry. I'm sorry. Sorry, you weren't. Bruno was. We'll get to Bruno in a moment. Did you see, you didn't see the abuse of a 12-year-old in a car by the ring announcer, did you?
Like, we joke about the Tony Atlas story because he has a joking attitude about it. But it does, I mean, when you hear something like that, it's like, well, hold on a second. Like, Tony Atlas told us that this was going on in, like, his own kind of way. But, I mean, obviously he wasn't the only person. It makes it much more credible when you've got, like, even if they can't directly, like, corroborate this incident, but to know, like, okay, this is a pattern of behavior of this guy. But then Cornette, I think, would probably just dismiss it as, like, well, everybody grabbed everybody's dick and stuck their thumbs up each other's asses in those days or whatever, but I don't think that's probably 100% true.
I didn't see the actual abuse. I was there the night in Allentown, Pennsylvania, when Mel Phillips was caught in the front seat of a car with a child approximately 10 years old performing oral sexual on this child of 10 years old, brought into the arena by a security guard, confronted to Mr. McMahon, Vince Sr. and Vince Jr., and they said we would handle it.
Vince Sr., your father? Is that right, Vince?
Yes, and first of all...
Is that true?
No, I don't know if it's true or not. I can tell you that no one ever came to my dad.
What was the
or
year
to
this
me.
is supposed to have taken place, Billy?
About 82 or 83, I can't remember, but the main part I want to bring...
We should also make this point, Billy. These are pretty heavy bombs you're throwing
These
here.
are very heavy bombs,
but we don't have any proof, and I don't think you're claiming to have seen the illegal act.
Okay, I may not have seen this particular illegal act, but it has gone on for so many years. Just as the selling of drugs by Dr. George Zahorian has gone on for 15 years in the World Wrestling Federation.
This was a big mistake, I think. Big mistake for him to open this up. It shows that his case against Vince in this situation is weak, so he's going to be like, oh yeah, well, let's talk about what I'm worried about because I want to get a settlement from this, Zahorian case or whatever. It's just Billy Graham full of shit.
Witnessed and condoned by Vince McMahon, you see, and condoned by him sitting this close to Dr. Zahorian while he sold steroids, while he sold barbiturates, downers and uppers to every wrestler who have wanted them. You see, what I'm trying to say is the man could condone this, so he also condoned the homosexuality. He put up with the drug selling, and he put up with the homosexuality.
Identify the cast of characters here. You mentioned Mal Phillips. He is another of the executives who has resigned.
I don't believe he was an actual executive. He was a ring announcer.
Was he not? Has he not resigned from the WWF?
I believe he has resigned or been fired. I don't.
If you remember, check out the video of Mel Phillips getting beat up by Terry Funk. It's pretty entertaining.
No, which?
Is he not one of the people who has?
He's one of those who has
stepped down
alleged, yes.
Following the publicity about this. Yes. Nobody's been proven guilty. We should get that point. You're denying you recall anything like this, looking the other way.
Not only that, the thing of it is, why not speak up? If I saw something like that, I'd call the authorities. That's what you would do. A 10-year-old boy.
Here we go. Thorpe logic. If somebody committed a crime, call the police.
You call the authorities. Come on. You're not going to let somebody like that get away with that. Please,
You know why? Why didn't you? Why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you speak up?
I wouldn't let somebody get away with that. Please, superstar.
When you allowed Dr. George Zahorian to sell barbiturates that almost killed Rick McGraw, they were in his bloodstream when he died, along with all the...
Billy, we're all smarter now about steroids.
But wait a minute. Barbiturates, steroids, plus hardcore drugs that I had 3 overdoses with myself from Dr. Zahorian's drugs. And I tell you one thing, my wife...
What is he doing? Now he's like, look, Phil, it's not just the steroids. I've also overdosed 3 times on hard drugs. What is Billy Graham doing? Like, what's going on with this guy?
My wife would have had a gun. She flushed half the drugs down the toilet. And if my wife sitting right there would have had a gun, she would have killed Dr. Zahorian. And she said if she would have had a chance, she would have killed Vince McMahon because he permitted it.
Oh, no, look, they got fucking Bruno Sammartino's next to him. Oh, my God. This is such a good show.
Happened.
Yeah, but you took him too, didn't you?
I was addicted because of the accessibility.
Yeah, you must have been a real crank when you were on him too, weren't you? I mean, weren't you? I mean, doesn't it affect your personality? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
You're addicted. You're addicted.
But you're also crabby and easy to anger, aren't you? Doesn't it alter behavior and emotional? And...
Not if you're sedated. Not if you have barbiturates and you have Placido.
Could you compete and survive and be a top card person in the 80s in the wrestling game without taking steroids? Be honest.
No, not you. You would have to take steroids to in Vince McMahon's World Wrestling Federation to be on top.
Because it made you bigger, you look better in the poster.
And that's the market. That's the market.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Oh, man. Superstar got clowned on the way out.
Please send a postcard to Donahue Tickets, care of NBC, 30 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, New York, 10112. Remember, postcards only, please.
Bruno Sammartino, you did appear on the Larry King live program last week.
Hey, let me tell you, Phil.
Are you impressed with Mr. McMahon's apparent acknowledgement here on this program, which was not forthcoming on that one?
These guys today, it's a joke. It's all a joke.
That maybe there is a problem.
Some of these poor folks out there are sitting there listening to these guys, and when he makes them, they even applaud. Poor people.
Look at this. He's still got it. He's still got the promo ability.
You don't know this man. Let me explain something to you. I wrestled from 1959 to 81, and I retired. When I came back in 84 as a color commentator, Believe you me, the world of wrestling that I left and the one that I
Listen, I'm going to find a way to make this about my son, David.
found, it was bizarre. I mean, it was filled with drugs of all kinds. We're talking about steroids, but there was cocaine. In fact, this man who pretends like he wasn't aware, why didn't somebody come to me? One time I had to go to Arizona, to New Mexico, different place, because one of his druggies was out of it. And I took his place, even though I really didn't care to at that stage of my life because I had retired. I specifically said to the man, hey, if I'm going to be going to these places in the arena, says I want to make sure that I don't drive with any of you wrestlers that are full of coke and whatever. So he arranged for this other old-time wrestler, Jay Strongbow, for me to travel with him because I wouldn't be in the car because I was always afraid of a car being stopped full of drugs. And he said to me, don't worry, he says, I'll get the agent to rent the car so you can go around with him.
Well, let me just say this in behalf of Mr. McMahon. First of all these charges are yet to be proven.
They're just coming up.
And I want to get to this, Bruno. Well, yeah, that's another thing. Why are they just now coming up? Let's understand this.
I can answer that question.
What is it?
There's never been a forum for them before. You have to understand that the wrestling business has always been a totally closed entity. It's like almost like an elementary school. You don't snitch. You don't tell. If something happens in the business, there was a friend of mine, okay, and it has nothing to do with Vince McMahon. I don't want anyone to think it does, who was murdered in a dressing room. And it was very difficult. This was in Puerto Rico. And it was very difficult for the wrestlers, even in the murder, to go to the police the next day and tell the truth. It took one of the guys who was
I wonder, yeah, I was going to say, I think the ears are because they're cauliflower ears.
Friend of the guys says, we've got to go tell the truth. And there was so much pressure on telling that, that you don't snitch.
I get it. But this point has to be made. These are men in groups.
It sure is.
Not unlike the New York Mets.
That's right.
Some of whose members are now under a very big, embarrassing gun of a charge brought by a woman. Just let me finish here.
Why did they show Barry O when he said charges brought up by a woman and they immediately panned to Barry Orton?
I guarantee you there's nobody in this audience that's gonna drop over of indignation to discover that pot smoking may have taken place. That throughout the 70s and 80s, especially when the money started rolling in, cocaine started to take place.
Hell yeah,
no doubt about that. And I guarantee you, this bright audience knows damn well that steroids were used.
Hell
This is
yeah,
easy
Phil.
to get. We know this. Now, wait a minute. Here's the question.
Man, we used to be a society. You used to be able to openly cheer the use of cocaine. What happened to us?
Here's the question. Did the WWF, or did the environment, or did people in power not only look the other way, but actually condone the loss of jobs, the loss of employment, because of bold, unrestrained aggression of a sexual nature by men in power on younger men who wanted to rise within the system?
Absolutely
That's
not.
the
Can I
question.
answer that question, Phil?
Sure.
Last night on my radio program, I had two midget wrestlers on. And
we don't see them anymore, do we?
No, we don't. We don't see him
Tell 'em
anymore.
why.
Last night on my show, a midget wrestler by the name of Karate Kid alleged that in a dressing room, Pat Patterson made some sexual advances towards him.
Oh, no.
The leader of the midget group, Lord Littlebrook, went to Pat... No, it sounds bizarre, and it is bizarre, but it's sad.
Make the story, please. Running out of time.
Yes, okay. Lord Littlebrook went to Pat Patterson and said, leave this kid alone. He's not gay. He scared the little guy, to tears. They were not used, but one time after that sexual advance was denied. They were only used one more time, and the midgets have not been used since then.
Vince McMahon. Here is the owner of the
damn.
World Wrestling
There's so much collateral damage in this case.
Federation. And he's already lost, how many? 2 or 3 executives have resigned.
2 executives and one.
2 executives and 1 announcer.
One announcer.
Yes. Who worked right under him. What did Mr. McMahon know, and when did he know it? And is it unfair to have asked him to give these guys the heave-ho, given the complexity of these charges? Who's got the evidence? Who's going to believe who? Did he fire this and out? This is, if it weren't so painful, it'd be fascinating.
Was that Elizabeth in the crowd, or did I hallucinate it? It was just a split second. I can't go back, though. We don't have time to rewind.
We've got the boss saying to the secretary who accuses him of a sexual abuse, I fired her because she couldn't type. Maybe she couldn't type. What is the truth? We'll be back to explore it further in just a moment.
You think Karate Kid came on to Pat Patterson. Hey, listen, Phil. Listen, I'm coming on to discuss these sexual charge allegations. Do you think in the middle of all that you could show some footage from our last event?
Some scenes from what it is that is mesmerizing millions of Americans, a lot of them young people. These pros in the wrestling game will tell you a lot of the folks screaming the loudest in the audience are young people, males and females. Dave, you're editor of the Wrestling Observer. Do you see Mr. McMahon coming forward here to open the door, at least, to the possibility here? Are you impressed with what he has said here in the first part of our program?
It surprises me, and I'm glad he said it, because...
You're glad he said what?
I'm glad he admitted that there was a possibility, because none of us know for sure. Maybe Barry does, okay? And Murray and Tom, okay? I don't know for sure. It's one person's word against another, and...
Hey, listen, I don't want to be punished by Vince. I don't want my shit limited, so I'm just going to say, hey, he said that it's a possibility. That's good enough for me.
Maybe if the executives told Vince that this didn't happen, maybe they were telling the truth, and maybe they're not. I can't tell you for sure, although I will say...
I wondered sometimes if Elizabeth just seemed hot because of, like, she was the hottest person in wrestling at the time, but, like, she really did stand out, like, big time in that crowd sweep.
Say this, I do believe Barry's story. He took a polygraph, and I've spent a lot of time discussing it with him, and I think that I'm pretty decent at talking to wrestlers and separating the fact from the fiction, and I believe Barry's story.
I'd like to take the time to
Barry, please. Sir.
Say that what the big story really was not really the story where I sat between Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin, but shortly thereafter there was another instance, and I remember I'm 19 years old, and I drove from Amarillo to Albuquerque, New Mexico with a single passenger being Terry Garvin, who about 40 miles outside of town started proposing that he perform oral sex on me while I was driving, begging me to let him do so. And of course, because I was young, I didn't want to lose a position or a shot. And I don't have homophobia. I have no problem with, you know, I'm a First Amendment person. I believe everyone has a right to do whatever they want to do. Right. And I told him as nicely as I could, please don't be offended, but that's not, you know, what I'm
Vince is like, oh, free speech.
into, and nothing personal, and, you know, I'm still your friend, but no thanks. And he did this. Every 40 or 50 miles, he would start again, and it got harder and harder to talk him out of it.
That's horrible, but that happened.
Well, let him finish his point. And your point, Barry,
My point is that Dave Meltzer just said, I have taken a polygraph about all this stuff and came back totally clean. My point is that if he was attracted to young men and younger, because I even heard the stories of the kids underage back then.
His behavior towards you makes you wonder about how he may behave toward others. Is this the point?
Yeah, even now.
And you also want to know what? I mean, you know, you can't, you don't want to get the posse and the rope and the tree limb for Vince on this, do you?
No, I don't. I don't want to get the posse and the rope for Vince. However, this has been going on in the dressing room in the WWF, and I'm talking, you know, under Title VII of the code on the law, it says that any unwelcome sexual advances, touching, or anything else is sexual harassment.
Right.
Now, we have these guys who are bookers and top executives, and believe me, I'm out of here before they are. I know I can't go and complain. I'm sorry. Now, you can say whatever you want to say, and you know that to be true.
They have the power. No matter what you say, you're going to be dismissed.
I'm gone because they are more important than I am.
Yeah, you wanted to say, Bruno, very briefly, with all kinds of folks in this audience who haven't even had a chance. They're coming after me here. I'm going to need you in just a minute.
McMahon said, why didn't they go to the authorities? What you folks don't know is that you don't go to the authorities if you want to eat because...
Man, I'd be all over Bruno if I was there live. I'd be fucking yelling at him from the crowd.
You're dead. You're finished, kaput, blackball. His father blackballed me all over the country, not for this, for some other issue.
Well, let's not bring in that.
No, I won't. I'm just talking about that. There's no union. There's no protection for the wrestler.
Very good.
Speak up, you're dead.
Vince McMahon, here's the charge. You had to see this. Your agents, right under you on the organization chart, are accused. 2 of them have resigned, including an announcer. Where were you all these years? Was the money so good? Was the glamour so great? Was the business exploding so wonderfully that you didn't have time to get into this kind of thing and you looked the other way and allowed it to happen? That seems to be the way this charge is evolving against you?
Well, I certainly didn't look the other way. There's no reason for me to look the other way and risk everything that we have going for us.
You didn't know any of this was going on, Mr. McMahon?
No, I did not.
They had an aggressively negative relationship for a long time before Bruno finally came back in.
What Barry is making reference to is an act some 14 years ago. 14 years ago that happened. How am I supposed? I don't know that that happened. This is the first time hearing of it on the show the other day.
Yeah. Do you believe it?
It could very well have happened. And to that extent, if in fact it did happen, again, those individuals whom these allegations are being brought against are no longer with me. I don't know what else more I can do other than to garner as much information as I possibly can to see that if in fact some of this was going on, does it happen again?
You know, we're always going to have wrestling.
Yes.
The question is, how threatened now is this empire with the accusations of steroid abuse and now gay sexual harassment? Because if it isn't, if you don't convince, obviously this is, I'm not suggesting I'm telling you something you already don't know. If you don't fix this, you're not going to be able to give these tickets away.
No question about it.
And we'll be back in a moment. People magazine is out with a page, a piece on the Incredible Hulk, Hulk Hogan. Are you acknowledging here that, Billy, that you...
This is 92.
You actually introduced young wrestlers to steroids.
I'm acknowledging that Hulk Hogan...
Bruno, David San Martino was the drizzling shits, and Bruno during that time was like almost brutal to watch. I mean, just wasn't... You could tell his heart wasn't in it, you know, and he just didn't... He just wasn't down with it.
Came to me in 1977 in Tampa, Florida, and inquired about...
Hey, Randy.
About steroids.
Right.
Because he wanted to be a wrestler.
You know, I want to tell you what. I don't want to send him to jail for that.
No, I'm not.
1977, that's how you did it.
And we didn't
know.
Him.
All right.
I freely
but
gave him that
you look back on it and you say, holy cow, that was wrong.
But the point is, I freely gave the man that information in 1977. But the fact of the matter is, now he has gone on the Arsenio Hall show and lied to a national audience that he has never taken steroids except for 3 occasions, and those 3 occasions being for therapeutic use only for a torn bicep. I've injected the man myself probably a half a dozen times. David Schultz, a close friend of mine, has injected him over 200 times, and Hulk Hogan himself has told me personally, Superstar, I knew nothing about steroids when I began.
But why?
And for the first year, I took a shot every day of my life, every day for the first year until I learned how to cycle steroids.
Yeah. Bill,
but my point is, Phil,
Billy, you're threatening a very big income here with this information.
That's right, but you can't lie to children in this country about drugs. That's child abuse. When you get on television and you say you have never taken steroids and you've done it for the whole 10 years, and when you've taken steroids for the decade of the 80s, and when you've taken cocaine and other drugs, and you lie about this to children, that is child molestation of their minds.
Gotcha.
You can't lie to kids.
What?
John Arezzi, you wanted to say, sir.
Didn't Vince say in published reports that you were devastated when Hulk Hogan made those statements on Arsenio?
I wasn't devastated.
That was the word used to me. It was.
Well, all right.
It was in the Observer.
I don't recall using the word devastated. Hulk Hogan, I think, told the truth. The question is, as far as the media is concerned, is whether or not he told the whole truth.
I don't believe the truth.
And let me just say
only
this.
3 times is not the truth.
Okay, first of all, let me say this. That as you readily would recognize, Superstar, as you started this whole steroid phenomenon in undoubtedly professional wrestling, it seems to me that we're losing sight of the fact that steroids were legal at the time. I mean, it was just as legal.
Not in some states they were, and they were not legal
Oh,
in Florida.
boy.
But
they were legal in Florida.
The issue is,
and
if you ask me,
they're not legal now.
and lie to children.
All right.
Not taking steroids.
And that's why we instituted our steroid
if
testing
you
program
ask
last
me,
year.
and nobody has, I don't want to string up a guy who took this football, wrestling, whatever, in the 70s or 80s before the sunshine started to come down on us about the terrible side effects of this drug.
We need the side effects.
Your point about your accusation that he lied is a different hello.
Hi, to the three men on the end
Yes.
who lost their jobs,
Yeah.
how many people in the World Wrestling Federation today are performing sexual favors to keep their jobs?
Well, today, I would have to say I don't know because the two main culprits, I guess, have resigned and stepped down.
When you were working there, percentage-wise?
Well, percentage-wise, I can't really say like 30%, 50%. I know of at least one person.
What an interesting question. And then I like how they're like zooming out and then they're gonna fade out with Barry O commenting on what percentage of people were being sexually harassed.
Right. That was there from beginning till end.
If you're not... Hi, are you there, caller? Briefly, you had to say.
Yes, I have a question for Mr. McMahon concerning all those executives resigning. Don't you find it strange that all those accused have resigned? Why did you accept their resignations? And wasn't indeed Mel Phillips suspended?
Yes, you have one individual who's suspended who was not technically an employee, although he worked with us almost every day. And you have two executives who have resigned, and we've accepted their resignation.
Yeah.
You talk about child abuse, but if you saw or had knowledge of a child, a young person...
Should have blown the whistle right away.
Got it.
Yeah, I guess.
Because you're...
Yeah.
Could I, okay, I don't understand something.
I'd like to speak on
You gotta understand something.
You have to understand the wrestling
By coming forward right now, I'm done, man. I'll never wrestle ever again under any circumstances. I am done.
Yeah,
but when you have a family to support and you're talking about your livelihood.
Hey, listen, lady. Yeah, kids are important, man, but I gotta pay rent, brother.
You
Throwing
can
it out
take
the
care
window.
of yourself, but that man said he saw a child being abused. If that's true,
No, I said,
he is a
when you
scumbag.
lied,
If you
Yes.
I said when you lied to children, when you lied to children, that is child abuse. That was my point. I didn't.
Bruno, you wanted to say.
I wanted to tell that young lady, please, they were reported. We told you the parking lot incident. When it was reported to them, they said, well, what they do in their own time. They didn't care. Don't you understand that? They didn't care.
First of all, I think that it's a shame that 6 other people on the panel, with the exception of Mr. Meltzer, are sitting there accusing Mr. McMahon, who so far has done nothing wrong. Mr. O, I know you've been in jail. Mr. San Martino, your son was fired under very suspicious circumstances. How can you sit here and accuse Mr. McMahon out of personal vendettas?
None of that has any
You don't
relevance.
know what you're talking about, Sonny. When you grow up, maybe you'll understand a little bit. Yeah.
Woo! Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'm just wondering why people go into wrestling in the first place.
Money.
I mean, they know it's not a pure art form. Even just looking at wrestling, you can see that
what?
it's tacky and it looks...
People love this.
But you can tell it's
There's a
pleasing
market
just by
for
looking
this.
at
A
it.
lot of
People love professional wrestling.
issue here.
I got a break. Are you there, caller?
Sit down, bitch.
Yes.
I can't talk to you. Well, hang on. Maybe I'll get you in. We'll be back in a moment.
For a transcript of today's program, send $3 check or money order to Donahue Transcripts, 1535 Grant Street, Denver, Colorado, 80203, or call 303-831-9000.
From sexual equality to sexual harassment, are women suffering a backlash for the success of the feminist movement? Next, Donahue.
Yeah, I just like to ask one question to the wrestlers that have been in the business for a long time. How many are there percentage homosexuals in wrestling
Nobody knows that. How many homosexuals in your neighborhood? Report back to us on that. What did you want to say? Yes. It's a... Isn't wrestling fixed anyway? No, that's a creative decision. Who wins? The snake loses, the good guy wins. This is about crime. This is about breaking the law. Yeah, what is it? Tell them about it.
You said over here that if you blow the whistle on sexual harassment, that your career is over, you're blackballed. I just want to know, is your career worth the price of these 10 and 13-year-old boys getting harassed?
Eat shit.
Different services provided and promotional fees paid by the following.
What an episode.
Now
like.
stepping forward, a lot of men.
Whoops. Yeah, well, I mean, wow. The energy through the whole thing, it was just so tense the entire time. Wow. All right, well, I got to go. We will pick up on Memphis wrestling tomorrow. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of these crazy issues, but we made it. We got the whole stream in one fractured go, but we did it. So thanks for hanging out. There'll be new Boyd Watch episodes today. My review of the Land Before Time movie. It's certain to maybe break into double-digit views. Anyway, Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around through all the technical issues. I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you